25 years of Vampire the Masquerade presents The Phoenix Crusade. Hey folks, Brennan here. Thanks for tuning in to our 25 years of Vampire the Masquerade podcast. If you want to reach out or follow us, we're on Facebook and YouTube as 25 years of Vampire the Masquerade, Twitter, Instagram, and Twitch as 25 years of VTM, and on our website at 25yearsofvtm.com. Support us on Patreon at patreon.com/25 years of Vampire the Masquerade. Thanks for listening and enjoy the show.
Okay. Nah, goofing aside. Welcome back, everybody, to us getting the Phoenix Crusade rolling. I don't know. We're just going to be more real with this, fellas. Lots happened. Lots changed. Recently, DJ switched his name to JD. He's looking to start his new wrestling career, so look for that. Mike didn't just wake up. He stayed up all night partying at the discotheque in Germany, so that's good, Michael, and I appreciate for that. And I'm just teasing. We can virtually say whatever we want about what everybody's doing, and I love how people just let me do that, which is interesting. Welcome back, fellas. Glad to have you here. Just trying to wake you up a little bit.
It's good to be back.
That's what I was looking for. That's what I was looking for. Everybody looking like they had a fun time this weekend. See them COVID restrictions letting up and people just letting it hang, going out acting fools. So
party time.
What's that?
Party time.
Yeah, party time is the thing. All right. So where we picked up last time is a very dire situation for at least the majority of you. You got the ever-loving shit beat out of you by the Anarchs. And staked, right? That's what happened, the way it rolled out. Some gave as good as they got, but in the end, numbers did tell the tale, and you were going to be killed. Where we're leaving off, though, is DJ had no time from his scene to run anything else because that's where we're picking up. But to add the addition, Rot, just so you know how we're running this, when this scene gets done, we're not going to have, what are you guys doing after this? Because it makes sense. People would have went back, slept, and done that. So we'll get you in just as soon as these guys wake up, where you'll be back at the Haven, just as you planned out, and we'll pick it up from there. Good with everybody?
Works for me.
All right. Yep. Automatically, for those who had their cans kicked, you're going to be worried about my hunger, how much are we going to heal, what's going to go on with that, the ins and outs. We're about to notice something interesting. In other words, it's going to be narrative. We'll have that set to the side. But in accordance to what happened, Mr. Sullivan, you had a very intense conversation with a guy proclaiming to be, well, Loden. And that's how that worked out. Venture clan meeting went interesting, right? Your mala was put up on hooks and definitely was, for the aftermath of that scene, I want to highlight home that the Venture clans are given a very, they were knights. Right, long time ago. They had a lineage of conquest. You callously observe as Ballard, not anyone else, walks over and picks up your would-be mala and hangs him on a meat hook. And the assumption of Ballard is, he's played as, I'm over here and I barely move and I like to eat food. That may be the case, but the assumption is that size doesn't equate power. And how easily he tosses this guy around like a pillow is the impression you get, because it looks like he almost over-tosses him. But when he slams him on the meat hooks, Ballard's eyes are beady coal black when he looks at him. And it takes a minute for Loden to get his attention. And you'll note that, and definitely when the Seneschal clears his throat, you'll see that Ballard will notice that he's been staring, and he goes back in line. However, when Loden stands up, these people know better. When you talk about power or a sense of standing or what used to be, it is impressive to see not a single head stands taller than Loden, and they all file behind him. So this table, Loden's at the head, Ballard came up, hung someone on a hook. Then, as Ballard goes walking around, he ensures that he grabs your wrist to bring him over by him. You stand behind him. Then you'll see everybody else that stands to the left or right of Ballard accordingly file behind him. There would be a photo shoot taken, but that's not what they're doing. You'll see the woman that's with, quote-unquote, Loden, hands him a cavalry saber, from some sort of war. You're not a war aficionado, but she hands it to him, and Loden just waves it off as he looks at the guy in the hook, as if he's not killing him himself or he's not going to die. You don't know what the situation is. But Loden will finally head for the door after a moment's contemplation. It's an uncomfortable, I'd say 2 or 3 minutes that Loden stands there, debating the fate of this guy on a hook. And he's going to die. There's no question. He's up there, staking them, dangling on meat hooks, and it's just a matter of when. Or they're just going to let the sunlight come in, which definitely will at some other point. However, when they all file out, it's behind Loden as he gets into his limo. You'll see that there is like an entourage of ghouls that tend him. You've never seen this. In Chicago, the assumption always was you've had a retainer, or we keep it on the down low or whatever. But when you step out and see that they're policemen, there are 2 or 3 cops that are there that look like they're plainclothes cops, all the cops, right? Plainclothes cops. They do have badges out that kind of stand there waiting for them to come outside. And when they do, they kneel. They don't merely have their head down behind them. It is complete like royalty. And you're not certain where this comes from or how deep it goes. But it's like people are acknowledging the fact that the king has returned, is the feeling it is, as you see that he has a security squad that are waiting out there. And you're calling them that because this is a typical black SUV like you would see in a cheesy film. At least you're almost wanting to chuckle because you're pretty sure Hollywood has milked this on repeat, except they're wearing pretty sophisticated body armor. And you see an interesting symbol that sits in the side of their jacket. It looks almost religious, like a burning cross. Is it a hook at the end? You're not certain what that means, but there are 3 or 4 people with that symbol in the squad, and they just sit there in the assemblage and climb on out. Then when Loden gets in his limo, it's that squad that leads him forward. They make certain that they lead the way, and these other cars file in behind them, and they're gone. It's like escorting the president through a city street is what it looks like. And, good old squad cherries are going, at least on the unmarked up front. And that's just how they leave. However, when Ballard kind of shoos everyone else away, and I do mean shoos everyone else away, they will look to him, even Sovereign, as if what's supposed to happen? Ballard's like, well, that's enough of that. And, and things go back to normal, and he pokes a meaty finger into your chest. You have shit the bed proper. And he'll like keep poking you, your friends, for what they're worth. What you call your pawns. They'll be waiting for you. You're going to follow this man, and he'll point to Sovereign. Exactly where he goes is where you go for the moment. When you get out, you will attend them, and you will bring them to a place that he will direct you, and they're going to feed on whatever's given them. No more, no less. If they get out of line, it is you that handles it. You alone. If you can't handle it, I understand. Not all of us are meant for combat, but I will state this. You don't want to be the one who can't handle it. Whatever one must do. If you need to stop for lawn equipment, do so. I wouldn't recommend a chainsaw, too noisy. Perhaps a good fire axe. Perhaps one at a time. However you choose to do it. Be cautious and be careful. You're on what they call notice. You can nod.
I understand.
All right. You do that, and Ballard will grab you by your shoulder and steady you. Understand. This is way different than before. Before, I could take hits to the chin. I'm good for it. Pick a chin. All of them are durable. I am wealthy. I could take many a blow. However, the man who made me offers no mistake. You see a weakened creature right there. I see a creature that survived a lupine assault or 3. I see a creature who got attacked in the Sears building. Torn apart, they said. Ripped apart, my sources proclaimed. And a Sabbat pack that claimed they came over the top of it and devoured him and made their name on his corpse. His ash is gone. My sire has the power of resurrection, and I see that. Yet I'm not a fool. Misdirection. Had I been there, he wouldn't be here. That I promise you. But after that display of power, he knows a trick or two. You understand?
I'm beginning to.
And it's that man you embarrass yourself in front of. It's that man who was trying to back you from afar, and it's that man you forced into the limelight, which screwed me over. My chances for ascension, getting rid of Jackson in my own time, are all over. I go back to my money making, back to my millions. And if you think you know what boredom is, after you've made your first $1 trillion in a given generation's time over multiple buildings, and you can't spend the money you have because you're not alive, you couldn't possibly enjoy it to the level of a living man. You begin to understand you're funding an empire, just not yours. I wanted to fund my empire. But since my dreams are shattered, you're now on my strings, puppet dancing. If you need something, you know where to call. But you don't make an ass of yourself. And you become just as ruthless as if your life hangs in the balance for every mistake. There will be no lictor. that comes to clean up for you, there will only be Ballard. And I will place you on the table, and I will have a final meal for you.
Yes, permission.
Good man. Now you leave a polished Ventrue who knows properly what is on the line. Noblesse oblige. Noblesse oblige. As he'll waddle away, and you'll see him wedge himself behind his own BMW. I do mean wedge. It doesn't look like it's easy. Discomfort and all, he has to wiggle in, and the seat's back, and he gets in. And as comical it is, it's also something telling. You can see that he doesn't care that maybe the blood flow would be cut off for one of his legs to get to where it has to, or the angle he goes at would be discomforting, or his shoulders jacked to the side or whatever, and whatnot. But he gets himself in and shuts the door. You do what you must. What it highlights is that somebody left him a car, not his, not custom built, not bought. And of course, who buys a luxury car without making sure they can fit? Immediately comes to mind, someone here at this board gave him a car and told him to drive himself. The only person with the balls to do that left first. And there's subtle hints that are being dropped at Ballard that clearly someone's not happy. Therefore, shit rolls downhill. You take it on the chin. It's nothing else you can do. But Alan Sovereign will wait for everyone else to leave and give his due apologies and goodbyes and whatnot. And you'll see Bobby Weatherbottom, who's still there, will approach Sovereign, and you'll hear him simply say, you know, if you want, man, I could just take him. I could just show Sullivan the ropes. I'm the youngest. It's what I do. You know, I do things. And Sovereign will look at him and then give away to the anarchs that you're an anarch. You're an anarch, as you have stated, opposing all the Ventrue, including the city. And if it gets out that you attended a clan meeting, what does that mean? And Bobby smiles. This is the thing about anarchs. Like, what it means is I'm a Ventrue, and I came to a Ventrue meeting. There was Ventrue stuff. We did Ventrue things. We talked about like moving forward, and maybe I taught them how to use the internet, right? Anarchs are dumb. They're going to take whatever I tell them. Why? I'm an anarch. I'm fucking dumb. I'm a child of the now. This is my time. I mean, you're the old man. And Sovereign will just clear his throat, and Bobby will just say, yeah, or not, you know. We'll just... Sovereign will adjust his glasses, and he'll go, Robert, what I'm trying to explain to you is I get what's at stake. You need to understand what's at stake. No more mistakes. No more issues. Let's not be fools. Your anarch brethren know damn well that you weren't with them now because you went somewhere. When they trace it back, maybe not tonight, maybe not this month, they're going to find out what side your bread is buttered on. And you'll see Bobby stop and goes, Alan, that's the kicker. My side has always been with the guy who made me what I am. I have absolute loyalty to my sire. I always have. Who do you think pulled him out of the wreckage? Who do you think smuggled him away? Who do you think's been nursing him back to health? Who do you think provided him a place to hide and brokered the deal in the meeting? That was me. Why do you think he's here? It's because, well, everybody believes someone like Ballard is going to keep him up in a palisade, or someone like you is going to, no offense, procedurally make sure that he's well cared for and whatnot. They never suspect the guy who just works the laptop and taps into a tablet. Right? But I'm that important piece. That's why the anarchs overlook me too. So buck up. So do you want me to get this guy on board or not? And Sovereign will look, very well. A deal, I will give you a chance. Do well, please. Not failure. Yeah, what am I, Capone? And he'll start laughing. And Sovereign will look at him. Do you know where he is? He goes, yeah, actually I do. It's pretty scary. It's like a very dark place that nobody wants to be in right now. You might say he's counting 10, you know, like hanging 10. Like bad, it's a bad joke. I wanted to surf, but that's cool. We're good. And Sovereign's already walking off, and Hoppy'll chuckle and look at you, Sullivan. It's like, all right, there he goes. Here's the thing: while we're hanging out here a little bit, Sullivan, I want to let you know something. This whole dog and pony show. How long do you think we can keep doing these meetings?
For as long as they want us to have them.
Yeah, for as long as they want to. Listen, I've talked to Loden at length, and the guy's a genius. He's a warlord, forced to be one. But you don't know what he's been through, right? And even I have a vague conception, but he has that girl that's with him. Have you ever seen her?
I haven't.
I've never seen her, and I've tended to him for a long time. There's a painting of him with her and some other old lady. It's weird. It's weird. I saw a name on a letter, Datura. Datura? I don't know. I never pay attention to how you pronounce things like that. And I never got it. It's a woman who's more or less androgynous, I think, in a point in time, like before it was the thing to do. She might have even been looked at as somebody who was Oracle caliber, because it definitely looks like they're somewhere in Rome. We're talking Loden in a toga, but we know he's not that old. However, that lady is in the painting. And it seems like someone painted her in that painting of a skill that I could tell you would be killing on the market, right? I keep thinking there's another elder in play. What do you think? Think that's what that means? Like, you think someone's controlling Loden because, he's with her and they all kind of know what's going on?
I think they all know what's going on. I just don't think they're tipping their hand, to be honest.
All right.
I wouldn't be surprised if they're in cahoots, but he's the one playing the cards here.
Well, this city's fucked. I do mean that. Like, there's a lot of stuff that's in play. When Loden finds out, he's pretty black and white. Like, let's just say the blood hunt was invented. Like, if it was in a book, that old cliche, you're going to see Loden. It's going to be Elysium, his contribution to the ivory towers, right? And then you're going to see his relations to some pretty well-known princes. And then it's going to get to the blood hunt, a.k.a. how Loden handles his business. It's all towards that. And it's not good at all for anarchs. And to this point, I kind of got some orders for you from on high. Off the bat, Loden, we've already discussed this before you even walked in the door. You're in the worst position possible for a venture. You've been made a hound. Right? By default, your deniable assets are everybody else in your coterie, because they're now de facto hounds. This is in passing in secret, but it's the worst kept secret in the Venture clan, and we voted on it. This is your fate, which means regardless if you're good at combat or not, you are going to be the pocket assassins the prince needs to clean this shit show. And guess who your target is?
Carlisle.
Well, that'd be an interesting guess. Probably one that would make sense. What I was told is you're the one to take out Kevin Jackson. The lot of you. You pull him off the table and he wants him staked. Now, here's the trick. If you shit the bed, if your cannibal friends go off the rail, there will be no recourse. Did you see that squad that left with them with the weird-ass patches on the side?
Yeah.
You remember was it the Second Inquisition?
I've heard of it.
Did you ever wonder how they had the secrets of how to handle us and where it came from and strike teams and what they had to deal with and how that went about?
I would hate to assume you're making inference to Loden.
Inference to Loden, they just drove him. Listen, I've seen a lot. Clan Nosferatu doesn't know shit about what this is in the up and up, but you notice that they're the first to go quiet. You didn't hear a goddamn thing from them since you've been here. Has Rot updated you on that situation?
He's been occupied. He hasn't had time to update me.
I got it. We got to show face that your people don't suck. Let me point something out to you on why they do suck. Rot may or may not know what's going on with that, but he certainly could have gone and checked. There's a guy named Waneka who's been playing double Dutch. And I'll tell you that up front. He's been keeping me informed. He's been keeping Anarchs informed. He's been keeping Kevin Jackson informed. All sides he's been playing. And basically what happens is when a little old group called the Nosferatu Anti-Tribu come into the play and they come into town and Rot led them, i.e. he knew of them, he is of them. Once that happened, they shut down borders. They don't want information going out of a certain caliber. And there are people that they make sure can never talk again. And so we're assuming that's what happened to them. And they never came out of the cold to get any form of protection except for one being. Now, Khalid is a Nosferatu of importance. That's the one guy who's the eldest in the city that we were aware of, unless Critias was to be believed. But if somebody pulled Critias' card, I'm going to say Khalid has got to be the real deal, where Critias might have been a paper tiger, or philosophy doesn't protect you against a well-determined group of people who want your fucking head, right? So what I'm piecing together is, I think, from the bottom of my heart, that this Second Inquisition that Loden has is different from the one that's been used, especially if you believe all the rumors, Clan Shamir getting hit and everybody getting hunted in a certain way. But it's only one piece of the pie. I think it's something this Marcus Vittel started, and somehow Loden's got a piece of it. I do know this, though. I haven't figured out where Tally the Hound's got messed in it, but his IP's all over a couple of connections they have with these guys talking. Never caught him on it, never heard a message of him, never saw him with him, but I'm putting two and two together. Said the Lasombra had deep connections to the church back in the day. So did the Ventru. Do you think that's a coincidence even now to the modern knights?
That's a scary thought. I'm assuming you're saying that there's a culling in effect, a controlled culling.
No, it's not a controlled culling. I want you to use your brain and hear what I'm telling you up front. What I'm saying is the two clans that were at odds forever and a day just joined. They just joined and compared fucking notes. And they know they're going up against ancients, and neither one want to lose their power. Why do you think the Lasombra left the Sabbat? They didn't leave it because they saw a big, scary elder. They left to get the people that can handle a big, scary elder because they have a whole cadre of elders. The founders were a bunch of jerks. They got together out of selfishness to ensure that they were the ones in power that sit as you're in a circle in the Camarilla. They made it to where we could parade around in secret and do what we do. That's what they did. So if you didn't know that, it's because you didn't pay attention and your sire talked to you and should have warned you of that. Because that's Ventru or Goge or Goji. I never figured out. Is it a Gogi? Hey, whatever. That was 101 Ventru bullshit. They told you off the bat, spooky words and where we came from. And that's the piece never to lose sight of. That organization made huge waves. They took us all from having our own fiefdoms and our own princes and put us in one big house that had a huge problem. All our kids wanted the same freedom because we showed how it was done. Except they did that on purpose. Do you ever wonder why it is that a bunch of elders would make it to where so obviously that the people who were supposed to get in line, the moment you gave them leeway to be themselves, you attached a chain around their neck, that they would still rebel? Right? Because it's in essence a rebellion. Yeah, you were trying to kill me so you could be free and you wanted my power. So I'll tell you what, let's meet and either we're going to kill you, we're really going to band together as elders and going to kill you, and we can because, after all, you showed us how to do it. It's not that hard. However, we could do that, or you can agree to one thing, our number one rule. That's the masquerade, except that was also the argument that the founders made to everybody. If we respect the masquerade, we get off center stage in mortal eyes. We hide behind the church. The church can claim they killed us. They just had to kill a few elders and a lot of children that nobody wanted anymore. And then the church's inquisition can claim they cleansed the devil from their lands. Strange how that worked out. But who was using the church back in the day? Ventru, Lasombra. Somewhere in there, the Tortor were making dresses or whatever they did. But that's what they were doing. I don't really know the Tortor angle, but that's what it is. The Tortor have always been like our side bitch and everything I could think of. But the Lasombra had a turn with the Tortor as well. And for that matter, the Bruhat. Well, basically everybody, right? The Tortor just kind of do that. I don't know. Not to throw shade at them, but the Tortor angle is influence insight whenever they come around. They're like oracles of the apocalypse, right? There's big changes. They tell the right power what they could do, but they never proclaim that power for themselves. You could look at, that Court of Love bullshit they did, which is basically they built their own pocket of power of social standing to say everybody should play that game, but they were the ones who always held the cards at the top. But they never stood up front to tell people what they do. They let these big claiming elders, basically the people with balls, step forward because they pulled that whole feminine trick. Oh yeah, you're in charge, but really it was them. You ever wondered why that is? The knightly lord has to go fight and die, but it's the wife who's left with the estate afterward for her to pick that new buck, that new sexy knight that's coming up who's broke, decided to take him to her bed and be her. You ever notice that? It's like rinse, repeat, intelligent. It's like, how does a matron get to pick her a lot of the bulls that are coming up? I actually appreciate that, but you got important things. No, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. That was me. I'm not trying to conspiracy. What I'm saying is that whatever you think is going on, be aware of that. Remember the founders. Remember the Sabbat doesn't matter. Your Anarch doesn't matter. None of that shit matters. You were given a task. Your task is to clean it up, and he's not giving you leeway to fuck it up. So whatever it is you got to do, tell me you understand what's at stake.
I understand what's at stake.
Cool. Because what he's saying,
if I may,
you can't, because I need you to get this. He's not flexing his strength right now. You may think this was a flex. It's not. That's just him going, boo-hoo, I exist. Now things will be done correctly. And he's stepping back. The show of strength, who did he live with? Or who did he leave with? right? It's like he never left. That's to show up strength. And he does. That's not even the beginning of it. He's not even back to himself yet. That's just him like waking up. So don't ever forget that. Even me, right now, I'm on the level. We're talking normal. But if you ever make it seem like I didn't tell you what was at stake and what you had to do, and it's you're a gigantic bullshitter, Sullivan. Everybody knows that. You're the biggest piece of shit who just lies to people's faces, and you don't respect your elders, and you don't do a goddamn thing for anybody but yourself. You are beneath me. You're underneath my shoe. I'm talking to you because I also get it. Being the youngest in the room means you got to do whatever it takes, but you can do it with decorum and dignity. And that's what I'm asking you to do. Find your honor, hold it as your shield, whatever that means from your business bullshit life, and step forward with dignity. Because what you did was fuck up and you should be killed 3 times over. We voted your death. It's Loden who overturned it because he sees purpose. And you'll come through with this. And if you fail at this task, all of you will die horribly and screaming. I'm going to record it, and I'm going to save it for the next guy we get in line who's going to come into Clan Venture thinking that because he's from this decade, that means he's entitled to anything. You earn your way, and there's no way out of it. That's all I'm saying. You said you wanted to say something.
You want him brought back where?
Want him brought back? Oh, you mean your group?
You said I had to stake him. We had to stake him. Put the pine.
Oh, you mean Kevin Jackson? Yeah, I don't know. I assume the moment you get that guy, I'm pretty certain they're going to know. Because I don't know. I'm not giving you an address. I'm definitely not giving you a pocketed group of stakes, and no one's setting you up with spears. I'm not telling you to call the Banu Akeem and they're going to drop out of a hat and do it for you. I don't know if you noticed this. I'm giving you access to the people you have, and we're going to the back of this building where they're located. I bet you weren't expecting that. So you got your buddy hanging on hooks, is all beat up and has stuff in there. And I think that's some sort of fucking loyalty test, honestly. And I'm going to see what you do with it. But I'm going to get the keys. I'm going to go to the back and open it up. And you're going to feed them pig's blood. That's an old Chicago favorite. It's literally if you're a screw up and you're hungry and you wake up, you get pig's blood. That's how far you've fallen. You get your life and you get humiliated. And you're not humiliated in front of the city. You're humiliated to yourselves. And however you operate from that is up to you. But it's done so you don't run out in the street and eat the nearest person nearby, regardless of what your belief is. And if that's the path they take, you need to prepare to put them down. Oh, you may think that the hardest thing in the world is going to be to kill them. You have to understand, there are people in that group like Slappy who we know whose sire he is, or whose child he is. And we know his sire. His sire's came as a guess, which means Slappy was taught how to throw. He just knows when and when not to. Slappy will back you. Doesn't matter. He's been given a second chance at life. He doesn't want to sit at the bottom rung either. And he may have family issues right now, but I'm referring to a 3-on-1 Sabak group. Don't make it 3-on-1. Bring out one guy, make sure he understands, and you bring out the next guy, make sure he understands. But if I were you, I would have some sort of order that basically allows you to pick your fate from this point on. Sound good?
Yeah.
All right. I think we're with it. Well, let's go around back. It's what you do. And he'll start walking around the side.
He'll follow suit. He'll take one last look at Neely. I wouldn't exactly say it's a sadness in his face as much as it is he's just etching the memory of Neely on a hook and contemplating his own future as well. That he may one day end up there as well. But not tonight.
So you go outside. Not tonight. All right, you go outside and around back, and you can hear him opening up what appears to be just a standard U-Haul. Like it's shitty. They run it a U-Haul. You can see the plates are from some sort of dealership, but if your guess is, it's probably going to go back to Indiana, is where it's at. And he'll unlatch the back, and when you open it up, it's macabre. It is this crew in various states of like someone snapped bones, beat him down. They went through it. They went through a war. It was not an easy time. But ultimately, its stake, it was the end result. They were held, they were done in, and that was that. You know how long they've been in that state, but that is the effect. The only person not there is Rot, which means, well, probably a good thing. Rot never made it with him, never answered a message or got away. You're not certain where that is. But as if it's an interesting point, As that all opens up and it's there, you'll see Bobby go, oh, yeah, crap. He'll pull out his phone. All right, you should be able to use your phone now. He just does a couple taps on it. You're good. Puts it back in his pocket. And no lie, your phone will have like 12 messages on it, of which 4 will be from Rod, if I remember, if I tallied correctly, is what she'll have. Asking you about, hey, what about this guy out here at, what am I thinking of? Help me out real quick. Michelli, you asked 2 things of the group messages that went out. One was going out to Gurney. One asked about Great America, referring to the Nictacu. He actually asked you about them out where he's at. Like, I'm going to need help with that. I can't do it on my own. And there's like no reply you could possibly give. It's hours ago. Another one is, hey, where the hell you guys are at? Like, what's going on? You're not here. I could really use the help. The other 2 are basically checking in with the others. And the final one, I should say not the other 2, but the final one is a check-in that says, basically, I'll meet you guys back at the Haven. I don't know what's going on, but somebody should answer me.
He'll pick up the phone at that point, and as he's taking a look at the broken bodies of sorts, he'll make a quick phone call to Rot.
As you're calling the phone, be aware a weather bottom is just going to point. It's to the front of the Ryder truck itself. He's not lying. There is some sort of, what it looks like to you, there are several coolers that are left out back. You can smell the blood from here. It is a blood of a type, although I'll admit, tasty, but it doesn't quite get you like fresh blood does. We'll leave it at that for the moment, as you're not 100% investigating. Plus, you have a very interesting palate as a venture. But you make your phone call, and Rot, your phone will ring.
Where is everybody?
I'm gathering the band right now. Where are you?
Back at the Haven.
Good. Stay there. Don't move. We'll be right there.
Sounds good. He'll hang up.
Right? He'll hang up at that point. Good. Rot's alive. And he'll walk over to the group, and he'll kneel down. And the first body he'll get up and running is going to be Slappy.
All right. So interesting enough, Slappy looks like he got taken from behind and bears the least damage. It looks like maybe he gave better than he received, and then somebody just decided to drop him with the stake. And as if it's you're not a tactician, but it makes sense to you. If he was as good as everyone says, that's that. And then you begin to wonder. Scent of perfume is on him that I'll give you that as you're pulling him out. And it's heavily done. You don't know why that is. And when you pull him out and come to, he just has a stake in his back, and you're free to remove it now or to pull him out and get the blood set up. It's up to you.
He'll get the blood set up first, just to make sure this guy isn't as hungry when he pulls a stake out and risk a frenzied brouhaha.
So there are smaller buckets enough to hold maybe a liter each bucket. And there's 2 per cooler. And you look, and there's about 6 coolers back here. And so, all right, this should be good enough. Because when you open the lid of the first one, don't know if you've ever seen pig blood at all, DJ, but to see it right here and slightly congealed, it's not like it's been heated while it's back here. They're going to have to scoop eat it, if anything, and kind of half slurp it down. It's not completely like they got to chew it, but it's thick enough. Like, this isn't going to run easy.
Seriously.
But I mean, even for you being this close, it smells appealing. It's like somebody cooking a good home stew, and you would steal a taste, except it won't quite be the meat they're going to put in the pot or the specialty foods you would add to the pot that everyone's looking for. And that's what you're looking at. And you unstake him, I'm assuming.
I will.
Slappy, it's up to you. The equivalent here is there's a pain in you for hunger that overrides the fact that you've slid, you're now able to move finally. For you, the betrayal and shock long went out the window after the first hour of you not being able to move. Panic set in, day turns to night, and then you've just been falling in your own memories and flashbacks of what got you here and whatnot. If anything, it's like a version of being in prison, except you can't move. And you're only left to rethink in steps what you could have done differently. And at the same time, you can't stop feeling betrayed. Right? It's right around the time you keep seeing her, Anita, and you're just like, that bitch. and it keeps coming up in your head. And you want to be angry at this point, but the hunger far overtakes even that. As unless you're going to try to use any form of will, which you have precious little of to stop yourself, that's what's in front of you is the blood. And you could smell that as all.
Yeah, no, I mean, at this point, Slappy would just go for the obvious nearest point of blood and go for that pig's blood bucket and just, probably like try and like drink it at first and then just start reaching his hand in and like picking up scoops and like not really caring, like congealed blood all over his face, like just like slurping it up, trying to get back to where he's at.
The best analogy here to get in your head, DJ, if you need a little more help, imagine a starving man given Jello to fill him up.
Right.
And that's it. And that's what you got going on. Except this Jello will actually do the trick enough to take the edge off that hunger, to allow the beast to be in check at least. And Slappy's enjoying his 2 buckets, and you can hear him go from his overt aggressions as he gets to the bottom of the bucket. You can see him begin licking the sides like it was cake batter, rubbing the blood in. And after that repulsive display, and it is repulsive because you don't have a choice to see it that way. Your whole existence has been, come here, baby, come on with Sully. Daddy knows what you need. And it's a slight kiss and a bite, and it's real sexy and everything else. And this is like street level, brass tacks, welcome to Skid Row. You're lucky if you get a meal this month. Right. Deal with it. And to see it, it's like, okay, all right, your dignity feels bruised, but at the same time, he ain't going to care because he gets meals. And when he's about done, it's a 10-minute process, give or take. Just have to sit there and observe it and make sure it goes okay. But it subsides, and Slappy, you feel like yourself. Record a hunger 3 in your sheet for Slappy's where you're going to be left at. But it's enough for you to be at least coherent for a time. And that's all that the buckets give for the moment prior to you having human interaction, at least. Taking care of your own 2 hunting.
Yes. Sully, while watching Slappy get himself situated, will take off his coat, his jacket, and he'll start rolling up his sleeves, and he'll get to pouring more of the slop into these buckets. He'll calmly just speak to Slappy, not really looking him in the face, as he just goes through the motions of physically filling up these small little buckets worth of this congealed syrup. Smells halfway decent good, especially considering his hunger's at 3 as well. And he'll simply say, "This is our last chance." You understand that?
Slappy will just, like, after finishing the blood, like, will just kind of like, he'll like lean against the back, because I don't know where you fed him, but I'm assuming like still in the U-Haul, or would you have pulled him out of the U-Haul?
You pulled him out.
Oh, okay. Well, he just lean against like whatever, like the U-Haul truck itself, and like just kind of like have his like palm like against his face and like rubbing his temple. And he's like, shit, I thought that was my last chance. So this is great fucking news.
Oh, it only gets worse from here, my friend. It only gets worse from here.
You seen Anita?
No.
Did Anita bring me here?
If she did or didn't, I'm not too sure. Whoever put you in the U-Haul truck was at least kind to at least get you over here. So this is it. There is bad news, though. And there's more bad news. Which do you want to hear?
It's up to you, man. Whatever you want to do, it's all fucking news at this point, right? And he's like going to reach into his pocket and pull out his like crumpled pack of cigarettes and like try and like pull one out. And he's like, lay it on, old Slap. I can take it. And he'll pull out his zipper, light the cigarette.
Don't worry about the Ballard thing. I took care of that. However, he'll look away for a moment before kind of refilling it and getting them into their buckets and start moving them closer to the U-Haul truck, but pausing considerable distance away. He'll say, at one point, either Anita, well, I'll save that conversation for later. The one that matters the most is our Sabat friends. Scratch that. Ramsey, Warren, and Rot need to play ball. There is no more rebellion. There is no time for it. There is going to be no leeway for it. And it's going to cost us all our lives. Or maybe not. I need to know that if push comes to shove, if they still stick to their old ways, that you'll help me put them down.
Slappy'll just keep like he'll like draw on the cigarette and like inhale like and just blow the smoke out, and then he'll be like just nod his head and be like, look, man, you know, I'm all about the blues, right? But like I've told you before, they don't call me Slappy for nothing. And I ain't going in the ground for them, so
I really hope it doesn't have to come to that. That's why we have this one chance. But if push comes to shove and it's the final hour and they turn, well, he leaves it unsaid. I'll save the rest for when we get the crew up. They need to be ready for this.
No, wait, no. Hold up. You said something about Anita before.
Yeah. Oh, about her. She and or Wright are going to have to vie for taking up the Primogen ship for your clan.
Anita's up for Primogen?
We need to convince one of them to be able to do so.
Slappy will just shake his head. He'll be like, that bitch. It's like, that stupid bitch.
He'll raise his hand to pause him. This conversation can't happen in the fashion that you think. There are bigger things at play. Oh, by the way, Cridius is gone. I'm not sure if you've been told that yet or not.
Oh, no, we were informed. That's kind of what led to our ass beaten, if you will. Was when one of them, I think it was Warren, opened up his mouth and said something about that Tom guy. Very nonchalantly, like, oh, it was Tom probably. I'm like, and then after that, it was all, whoa, everybody was up in arms after that. It's
We'll
like
have
when
that
you throw a
conversation.
chair.
I get it.
Go ahead.
I get it.
Yeah.
Well, they have to be present for it. For you and me to talk has no bearing. And if we're going to do this together, considering our next mission, he'll sadly chuckle. We'll need all the help we could get. So he'll walk over to the two decrepit corpses of that which are his coterie mates, and he'll pull them into the cooler outside of the U-Haul, and you have the buckets next to them. I'm assuming they also have stakes in them, Bob?
What's done? Yeah, absolutely. In particular, you'll note that Ramsey has 3. The proximity, they're not Errol Flynn. There isn't somebody who hit the... One's in the heart from the back, like might have been a Hail Mary play, but there's another 2 that at least broke off and are stuck in them. Looks like a porcupine in a very morbid fashion. And they did what they could. Your guess is that classic Bruja attempt to stake something till it stops moving, and they had more chances than he had to actually resist.
He'll nod. At this point, he'll take a look, and he's like, he'll flip them so that they're facing towards the ceiling, and at least they could see him. And he'll bring a bucket by him, and he'll look over to Slappy. Hey, could you get that bucket over by Ramsey?
Slappy will do as he's told and just kind of go grab the bucket, and he'll have the cigarette just kind of hanging loosely from his mouth, and he'll with his free hand he'll point at Ramsey and he'll be like, get him up first. I think he's more willing to listen to reason.
Oh, I'm pretty sure they could hear us now. And he'll like snap his fingers.
So are you unstaking him and then doing that, or are you just snapping fingers and then...
He's snapping fingers, even though he knows that they might not be able to twitch their eyes.
Okay.
Of which you'll take a look down. Are their eyes closed or are their eyes open? Is there anything that gives the sense that they're cognizant?
So you'll see Ramsey's eyes are fixed on the bucket. Now remember, in V5, it's different.
Mm-hmm.
Right? In V5, you can be staked and make micro movements. Very telltale signs that you have it. However, that's how you knew that you could bring Slappy out. His eyes look normal. You're not certain if Ramsey ever had normal set of eyes, but these are baleful, blood red. and even filled, like an odd thing that maybe the beast was hungry and trying to conserve or enhance eyesight. You don't really know. You're not a kindred lore scholar or somebody who looks into that, but he looks like he doesn't have it together.
Slappy, pour some in his mouth.
Well, he won't be able to drink it, so I can give you that, right? He's steak. Say you unstake him. That's,
Okay, so he'll unstake Ramsey.
This is a gory show. This is like watching a zombie in an urge of friend. Imagine a fast-moving zombie getting hold of that first body in any horror film. It always seems so savage and scary to the audience because it's so rapid. It's like a quick grab and you get all the food and he's slammed into his face. That's what he's doing. He secures his prey, makes sure it can't go anywhere, and then dives. He just buries his face into the bucket. As you can hear him more chewing and slurping than anything else. Far worse than what you heard on the other end when you unstaked your gentle friend. I guess we can compare it now. When you see it, what took 10 minutes for Slappy to come out takes him about a minute and a half to get through 2 buckets. In that time, it's the warrior method of the Sabbat. He knows how to use his blood to heal in effect. And looking back at Slappy, whatever wounds he had, he definitely doesn't have them anymore. He's just left with the hunger. Ramsey's a bit different. It's the moment he starts feeding, he's healing. And that's the effect. Like the beast conserved or waited for its time, and it's doing it on a level that basically alarms you to see it close. Or he was an elder, and you never knew that was a capacity, because you've heard of rumors of elders seeming just invincible as it happened, except the little guttural growl he gives to satisfaction at the end of the second bucket, as Ramsey's at a hunger of 2 when he's done and his wounds are healed. His eyes begin to fade to normal as he's just there crouching, kind of swaying a little bit, staring off into the night, mainly up to the sky. You have no idea why that is. For Ramsey, you were just standing in a church in Gary and shit went sideways as you had to make that Madden run up top, and your foes were pressing on you from the bottom, and you gave in to the frenzy. You literally let it happen. And waking up here, crouching as you are, feeling a bit annoyed, slightly hungry, but not too bad. The sounds come back to you, and it's a bit quiet. You can definitely smell there's blood, most of it on you, and you've recently fed. But looking around, glancing, oh, it's Sullivan, and there's Slappy. And why is your packmate still on the ground? Well, Warren is still on the ground in a sad state of affair.
He'll stand back up. Why is Warren still staked? And he'll start walking towards Warren.
He'll put his hand out. He'll get up shortly, but we have to have a conversation first. You understand the weight of my words?
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
He'll repeat himself to Ramsey. Do you understand what I'm trying to tell you?
No, because you just said he'll be up in a minute. So,
exactly.
What is it?
This is going to be our last chance. You might think that whatever you were doing before in the Sabbat is Hill of Glory, die like a jihadist, get into a kamikaze plane, and it is what it is. But you chose to be here. I'm having this conversation with you first the same I'm going to have it with Warren, because I need your buy-in before we move any further. We're trying to make this work. We've tried. We fucked it up many times again. Because I'll even take responsibility for it. We're part of this crew. We have one more chance to make it right. And it's not even going to be sunshines and daisies for a long time, but at least it'll keep us either alive and well and of use. And at least that means we have breathing room. Are you okay with that? To exist as you are, to know that you have breathing room to make better decisions and less mistakes.
He's going to get right up to you, Sully, and he's going to, which will probably seem odd, he's going to sniff you. I don't know what happened, that this is a different Sully here, but fine. This isn't the first time I've heard a last chance speech, but if we're actually going to do what we're going to set out to do, that's fine. I don't care what it is, whether it's killing Anita or finding some fuck off shadow.
Going to be a lot more than that. I just need you to understand. Your resurrection, for lack of a better term, comes at a cost.
It always does. So what's the cost this time?
You'll need to drink from the big man.
I gotta bond myself to KJ now?
No. Ballard.
Ballard?
Slappy's going to put his hands up at that and be like, whoa, wait a minute, what?
That was the cost of affording you your life. This U-Haul truck didn't have to end up where it did.
Slappy contemplates for a moment and be like, cost of existence, right. Ramsey, I suggest you get on board with it too. And he'll flick the cigarette.
Ramsey's just gonna laugh at fucking Slappy. That's there's a lot of people that would kill to get some of his blood. Fine, whatever.
Fine, whatever isn't what I need.
We knew this was going to happen when we came to the Camarilla at some point. A probationary period was never going to be enough.
No, that's not the case. We had a probationary period, and we fucked that up. This is the only way to ensure...
Sully, I just said yes. I have no interest in hearing another "we fucked up" last chance speech.
Fine. Good. That's all I needed to hear. And by the way, as he takes a look over at Warren, he's like, first we need buckets for him. And you'll point over to the other bucket because he's sure as hell not going to touch more buckets in this case. The other thing about that is we're not going to get any last messages. Next thing that happens is the boogeyman comes for us, and it is what it is.
As he's talking, I'm getting another bucket from wherever the bucket dispensary is.
It's not a bucket dispensary. What is the 6 coolers of which 2 have been used, right? And there's another 4. You can just pull it down and pass it around wherever you got to do. But you get the cooler. But precise, right? These things were stacked what looks to be a dolly, right, on 2 of them. And we're just set to the back, 3 apiece. They even look like brand new dollies for Ramsey to know it. Somebody with money gave direct orders, and this is exactly what they got. Looks nice and neat. But yes, you bring over a cooler and open it. Oh, look, more buckets of blood.
I'll bring one over to Warren.
All right. So how are we doing? We just getting worn out? Everyone's standing back and watching the show, or what's going on?
So as he starts getting closer, he'll take a look at Ramsey as he starts approaching with it. I need you to have a conversation with your friend. He needs to be on board.
Mm-hmm.
He's been a loose cannon. And from what Slappy's telling me, he had choice words that may have led to where you currently were before the situation happened.
Sure thing, Sully.
Before, is he on board with what we're doing here, or is he still thinking he's part of the Sabbat?
We betrayed the Sabbat and told you a lot about them when we were with Critias, Sully. There's no going back to that. From what he was telling me, it sounds like the Sabbat is going to be coming for us. We already knew it was going to, but it looks like they're actually doing something. But that's not a tonight thing, because that's not our last chance.
You're right. Well then, I guess that solves it. Slappy, do you have any questions before we wake up Warren?
Yeah. Actually, I do have a couple of questions. Is there any other stipulations that come with me still being alive that I was not aware of? I'd just like to know before I get caught off guard again if they were to ask a question.
No other stipulation.
So just
outside of we can't afford to ruin anything anymore.
That's great. No, I understood that part. All right, great. Now I'm caught up, I think. And Slappy will go ahead and put out the cigarette, and he'll be like, "Let's get this guy up, huh?"
All right. With that said, pulling the stake out of Warren very much has results that are ironically similar to Slappy. He doesn't come out like Ramsey. There isn't this madden plunge of doing whatever. And you begin to wonder, was Warren frenzied when he went in? And for Warren's sake, just as you're scooping up blood, chewing it, and eating it, you're doing it very much like somebody would, well, shit, you guys said there was steak. And all I got is, well, I guess grilled cheese and tomato soup's okay. It's right, because he gets to it and he's like, shit, okay, I got a broken jaw. Beggars can't be choosers. Just chewing it a little bit, and he's like, man, damn, this is what I got. And he keeps going back to it, looking at you, doing that left and right. Like it's just what a cruel world, right? As he has here. What's going on as you're going through those motions is very much who Warren is. Except Warren, as your head's getting clearer, you're beginning to get fragments and images. To you, you were already healed. This happened. Like you got jumped and that betrayal happened, and then you were pulled in, and you remember having a different discussion. You remember there being a lot of darkness all around. You had trouble seeing, and somebody kept asking you about what you wanted on like a long enough scale, and you thought it was really cool, like a philosophical debate with yourself almost, where it was like, where did you want to be, and did you want to betray the Sabbat, and did you want to betray the Camarilla, and does Brujah Brotherhood matter? And you came to an ultimate conclusion that calls back to what you thought you were doing when you joined both sects, and that is realizing that there was a different way to be. And somewhere along the line, you were asked the question, what would you do for New Carthage? What would be the price you would pay to remake what happened in your image? A new unity, a new way to be as vampires in a sect of brotherhood. What price would you pay? And as you're feeding and eating and chewing, kind of putting together that, okay, maybe I was really tripping bad. Maybe I got beat so bad, I was like delusionally dreaming is what it feels like. You're sitting there going, all right, yeah, maybe that's the case. But then there's an overriding voice in your head that is not yours, and you hear a simple thought. The price for what you look for is Loden's life. Kill the king and inherit your new world. This I promise. And that's it. That's exactly what you hear in your head. It happens once. It could have been after effects of feeding, whatever it is. But it is odd that you do remember frenzy. You do remember losing your cool when they decided that, it was time to get rough with you in that warehouse and the brawl broke out. And it's odd. And for those of you watching, he gets about through the bottom of the second bucket, coming out at a hunger of 1, to let you know, which is a theme here. And as you get done that far, this is pig's blood. You're not particularly affected, Warren. For you, it's really no different. Like blood is blood is blood is blood to you right now, as you feel. And this isn't any more repulsive. It's just demeaning. That's what your issue is, right? Because after all, grilled cheese and tomato soup's pretty fucking good if you're Bob. One of my favorite go-to meals, right? That or a steak, depends on how much time I had to make it. That's all it is. And that's how you kind of feel. But when you look around and see your friends and, packmate, however you want to see the totality of the group, the only thing to you is like, where the fuck's Rod?
Hey, need my bag. And why are we down one?
Rod didn't show up to the meetup. But Rod's going to be Rod. He's going to show up when he fucking wants. That's his MO. But we got to have a talk. Another one. Hopefully the last one. And he'll kind of look around at the U-Haul and like the blood, and he'll just absently knock over the empty bucket of blood on the ground.
Sure.
I'm going to make this short. We got pulled out of that fuck up with Anita and Riot and them to do a task for, and he'll look at Sully. For Ballard, that's what you said?
He'll simply not.
We got to do something. Probably kill someone. I think they figured out that's what we do. Finally. But they have another cost for living. We got a drink from Ballard.
And you'll see Warren do the trademark Warren single eyebrow, and look at you.
Yeah, I know. But we knew this was coming at some point. That's how the Camarilla do. I swear, I think half of all the Camarilla in this town are blood bonded to someone else. Probationary period's over. We're going to work.
But Ramsey, do they? What would be the? Oh, well, that's funny. They don't know. Okay, sure. Yep.
What don't we know? Before we even get out of this location, I need to know so that if any shit flies this way, we could speak to it. We can't. Slappy's telling me you mentioned something about Tom. Is that he looks to Slappy for confirmation? You said his name was Tom, right?
Slappy like nods.
Yeah.
Why would you bring that up? How did I not know about this?
Sully, I told you earlier we thought the Sabbat is finally moving on us, and I also told you that right now, for tonight, it doesn't fucking matter. You said we have a task that we're going to do. We're not going to worry about the million different things that are going bump in the night in this city. We're going to worry about what we need to survive the night, as you said.
Okay. All right, let's meet up with Rot then. Wash yourselves, please, before getting out there. I can't. Too many cameras and such. And he'll just walk towards his jacket and unfold his sleeves.
This motherfucker just told you to wash yourself. You're out back of a slaughterhouse. Like,
yeah, is there like a hose or something? Like
out back? No, there isn't. There's not a convenient hose at the size of building here. It's a U-Haul truck and.
Do I see Sully's car?
You could walk the lot and probably somewhere up front he got here. So yeah.
Yeah, I'm just going to walk the lot to find his car, and as I'm going, I'm just taking off the jacket, the blood-spattered glasses, the tank top. He's stripping down Sully, since there's no fucking shower out here, and he's going to pop open your trunk, throw the clothes in there, and sit in the back seat.
Now, to make this clear, your alarm's going off. That's because when he pops the trunk, he can do it. He has the skill to do it. And you're certain he knows the right pressure to bend, to move, to whatever to pop that lock, but not to disable the alarm, which adds further to his annoyance with the fact that you told him to do it, as he's just throwing clothes in there. Bucket naked, as they say.
Jesus, at least take the gym bag. Put something on yourself.
But there is a gym bag, and he does have those clothes, if you recall. That's been the Sully special.
I think I can rock the athleisure appearance, so I'll do that.
I got a very nice wardrobe. If you're worried about how I look, did you happen to bring any of it?
No, I actually didn't think I was going to be meeting you here. That wasn't the intent. But we'll get to task. I'll fill you in. Just stay in the back. Slappy, I guess. Nah. Warren. Yeah, you stay back there with Slappy just as the thing. Ramsey, you at least look like a person I could probably put in the front seat. Here, go ahead. Take shotgun.
Well, Warren, if you're caring, are you caring about okay, cool, I'll try to clean up somewhat?
I do not give a fuck at all.
Oh, well, there you go. If you don't have any clothes, then
Warren's special.
We're from near dark after the bar. That's it.
Right.
Yeah. Slappy would take he would do some effort. He would take off his vest, unbutton it, knowing there's still blood on his clothes, but there's not much he could do about that, and at least wipe his face off and clean the beard out as much as he can of the congealed blood, he knowing there's still going to be traces of it, but at least his face is clean for the most part.
So call it 101. The simple fact is that the blood that gets to your face doesn't stay there. It's a odd part of being a vampire. It's like your whole body, if you were left in a vat of blood, would try to absorb as much as possible, is what it seems. You're not really certain what is up with that, but ultimately there's not a whole lot in your beard, but some old, deep, dark flakes that cake on the actual hair. And you assume that even in time, if you went to sleep, that stuff would get kicked off because you've noticed that. That's usually the biggest that people get from being a vampire night one, right? Is that layer of whatever bullshit was on you is now all around you and not on you. Welcome to immortality being reset. But you're no dope either. Your sire was pretty in the up and up. You've hung with anarchs. You get the idea. And the old inside out trick. That's right. That's why your wardrobe doesn't have that tag on the back of it. They do it on purpose. You may have a messy feeding. A good quick fix to that. Dark clothes, turn them inside out, put it back on. You're cool in the gang. And you have that where unless somebody's going to get up and close and hug you, which you should probably change your shirt before then. But a cursory glance, you're going to beat every time.
Slappy's going to do just that. And he's going to, go through the process of switching his clothes around. And he'll be like, good as new. Even though, still smells like blood, but.
So you guys smell like you just got done eating good barbecue. Nobody's really particularly starving, but some of you could go for seconds and some of you want to go back through the drive-thru and get some takeout, right? That's the effect you feel. But the simple fact is you can make it back to the Haven if that's your destination.
Mm-hmm.
Getting back to the Haven, you'll see immediately. Ballard's Beamer is there. You don't see Ballard in the car, but there is that Beamer there. You remember seeing it. You do recognize it on sight when you get there, Sully. Aside from that, you do see there's a limo parked in the street that's idling. Your assumption is he called to be met there and has transitioned accordingly. And before we think, no, that's not Ballard, I'm telling you that's what he did. But there's a Beamer sitting in your lot with that limo riding on the street as you guys turn in.
He'll pull over and he's like, it seems like Primogen is, I guess the Primogen's here soon. Just follow my lead. And he'll turn off the vehicle and he'll step out of the car and he'll start heading towards the limo.
It's nothing to it. When you head towards the limo, you'll see the driver get out. He'll walk over to the passenger side, not where you assume Ballard might be sitting, which is on the back left, takes you over to the back right. And he'll open up the door for you and gesture for you to get in, Sullivan. Or really, he just stands there. You will see Ballard on the inside. He's facing you. He's on a direct back seat. He's sitting on the side. You see that he has a laptop that's open on the right. And he's facing you. On the left-hand side, there's a series of handy wipes that he has that are waiting nearby. And a nice purloined silver knife. Like, you might have seen this on an old school royalty table for someone eating in an old period piece for British nobility. That's what it looks like, one of those knives, right? We don't have to have the American-built steak knives with the serrated edges. No. We use fine cutlery, polished and sharpened accordingly. And that's what's sitting there.
He'll step in and Primogen.
Good. How did it go? He'll immediately start wiping his wrist down with wet nap number one.
They are aware.
Good.
For your pleasure, would you like them one at a time?
He'll extend his hand. He goes, well, we start with you, don't we? And he extends his hand out, and you can see that it still has the cufflinks that are there, which you can tell are diamond right in front of you, but he holds it out to you as if you were the servant to dress him.
With that 1,000-yard stare where he goes into that faraway place, he'll take the bite.
As you're like, yeah, I'll just bite through the clothes. He swiftly grabs you by the face, and you can feel the pressure of it grip you. And he's like, perhaps we've made a misstep here. As he'll shove you, get it right. Why would I set out this refinement if you were just going to use your fangs? Think.
My apologies. And he'll reach for the knife.
There's something else, isn't there, Sullivan? Do I not have a title?
You do, Primogen?
Perhaps you learn what that title is. You're amongst Ventru. What is my title? You're under my Gauge.
The player does not remember. Can I make a politics roll to remember?
You certainly can, because this is where that etiquette comes in. Is you're like, oh shit, yeah, I am under that. That's what
right.
you're doing, right? So Luckily, if I remember, you were pretty stacked in this category, right?
Yes.
So what you're going through is charisma etiquette. And you do have to roll because your specialty is saving face. Can we do this and alter his disposition at the same time, Sullivan?
Right.
That's the perfect specialty for Sullivan.
5 successes.
With 5, and do apologize if you're like, I would never do that. I got all the balls in order. Understand it's your character as I interpret. But you do remember you're a ghost, and your sire, though he was on hooks, did explain this to you. But he explained it in a fashion, maybe it's because he didn't have you go through it. He just told you to expect it. That there may come a time.
Mm-hmm.
Here we are. There is proper titles that you have to remember and go through for Ventrue. They earn them. There's something about Dignitas you have to remember, but what's his standing? You have to go to the board, or there's a called Jarosha, and you're trying to remember going through, but you stated his name is Primogen. And so you know that much. That's his highest ranking title in city, which does supersede clan, depending amongst the people you are. Like if you're amongst Prince Loden, him being Primogen would be mentioned because Prince is above any title he has in clan, except for if it's clan members only. And that's what you catch yourself on. Shit, it's just me and Ballard right now. So, of course, I'm aware that he's Primogen, and I'm not. In fact, I made a, what are you called again? Do you remember, Sullivan?
Well, I am nothing.
You're a hound.
Oh, well, city hound, yes.
Right? That's what you are, is you're a hound. But you do remember that his name specifically is Horatio Ballard, a deal of finance and Primogen, right? But he is also the child of the prestigious Prince Loden, who is, do you remember his title?
I can't say I do.
So Loden is Praetor and a member of the U4, or a U4, if you will.
There we go.
And your character backtracks through this, right? You have to announce this, letting him know, because it does affect him. When you go through there and you basically, though he hears you stumble it and go back, and you do that on purpose for his edification, it's basically you double checking. You remember your goes. You were free to ask questions. He's there to correct. He's there to make sure you get it right. That's the point. And as you backtrack and give the titles accordingly and do that, this is before you even touch him to do the task. It's to acknowledge that you know who you're talking to, you know his lineage, and you know as prestigious as is going to get to the standing that you know. That's where it is. But then you have to recite your smaller lineage. It's definitely shorter and no one of note. And it feels kind of off, right? That's what it feels off. Because it's the equivalent of, in Clan Ventrue, I am nothing. And I never felt that more than right now. Ghoul is more important than I am. Is this oppressive feeling you have. But at the same time, this permits Ballard to tell you immediately, all right, let's relax. I remember what it was to be low on the totem pole. Let me explain. When I earned my first million, I had thought I was king of the world. In my time and day, that was unheard of. That's empire worth starting. And I started taking over the financial industry with a wild fire in my belly. I couldn't be stopped. And my grandeur only grew with the size of my gut. And I was proud of it. I didn't care for women. I didn't care for men. I only cared for money. And money and gluttony go hand in hand. I've never, ever accused anyone of being wrong when they've noticed my portliness. It is a mark of honor for me, not for some deranged reason other than food is a testament to wealth. Imagine a Great Depression and everyone's trying to scrounge for bread crusts and I'm eating steak and roast and better. That's the equivalent. How did I manage so much and the rest of the world is starving to death? Power. Power is what I was eating. Thus I was chosen. Yet when I became a Ventrue like you now, and Loden Sagoge was, let's just say, humiliating. I was naked the first night. I was brought before a group of people who are better served and better looking. Loden's an angel. Never let that be forgotten. He is someone who, you couldn't see it now, he definitely attracted Tordor as his right, I guess, Mala is what you would refer to it as, although I would call it more of a mentor, if not lover relationship. And he basically carried it in my face. A beautiful woman I couldn't even dream of attended him. And you saw her tonight. She was there. and they were lovers, deep and proud. I was naked in front of them. They were at a party. What was I to do? All I could do was crawl in front of Loden and stand up eventually when he gave me permission to raise my head and feed them food while I was denied sustenance. He did this for nights. It was to bring humility to one who was a billionaire. And he did bring me to my knees. But at the end, he said, you can't understand what it is to rule if you don't know what it is to serve. You have no concept. And he wasn't building a better ruler. He was teaching me noblesse oblige, to remind me that you have to be something to be of worth. And this is your lesson. You thought yourself great. Be humble and serve in greatness now. To that end, take the knife, undo what you must of my cufflink without ruining it, roll it up as if it's ritual to you, and then slice my flesh. Why we slice? Your ventru. You would never sully yourself biting into the flesh of another kindred. You are honoring the fact that you are succumbing to an insult. You are seeking succor, I am granting it. You will drink my blood, which is prestigious. By your own words and acknowledgement of my title is greater than yours. And accordingly, when you drink of my greatness, it is to elevate your own. It is to burn away the impurity of your shame and take honor in who you serve. Do you see this?
I do.
Be stronger, Sully. Look past the pettiness of it. It'll do you well. And accordingly, you go through it, right?
Mm-hmm.
As instructed. And when you go through appropriately and you do drink it, you will restore your willpower. By the basis of your role, there is more than wisdom that Sullivan gets. You are arrogant as fuck, DJ, with Sullivan. You believe you can't do any wrong, and you believe you have all these things, and you're making assumptions about elders. Well, they're more older, that's why, and they're clan X, Y, and Z. And Sullivan deeply gets that in this moment, right? That you're under an agoge, and now you got to really be under an agoge. And there's no more fucking around, like you said. But when it gets done, and you guys outside, it's like 5 minutes has gone by, he's still not back out. You drink his blood, it does feel that you're purified. You do feel a connection. It's like you understand for the first time in a long time and see Ballard in a different light, in a more positive light, that this is someone worth serving. He's more than just the fat cat. And you begin to see maybe a respect, if not a possible friendship, if you can serve well enough. And he definitely seems to radiate that. But you'll note that he redoes his own cufflink, puts it back, it sits, and he goes, now before you go outside, he'll open the cooler, and not cooler, it's a little fridge that he has in here, and you'll see him pull out they get a canteen, and he'll hand it to you. Tell them to drink a mouthful of peace. For those plebeians, those mid-classians, they get nothing. They don't have the right that you do. They won't come in this limo. I don't even need to see them. I only see you, and I trust you will have the honor to make sure they drink. That is all of them. That is to you. And I'll hand you the canteen. By the way, it's up to you if you take off the price tag or not. It's definitely from Walmart.
He'll just take it as it is. He's not gonna remove it in front of Ballard. That would be a bad idea.
So easily, Sullivan comes back out of the limo. Maybe it looks a little different, a little pep in his step. But by the way, DJ, if you're thinking it's the blood bond, yes, it is.
Mm-hmm.
It's completely that first blood bond that changes and alters that opinion, but that is another way to interpret it. It's not just, he's dreamy. No, it's context and circumstance that set those bonds. And you do feel that he's a more appropriate mauler and teacher than Sullivan's ever had before. As you step out and kind of proud to have this this Walmart special as you go towards your coterie.
He'll smile at the coterie and he's like, well, the good news is he'll just raise the canteen as it currently is. You just have to have a sip from this. Mouthful, no more.
Ramsey will just take it and take a mouthful. He'll pass it off to Warren. He'll kind of look around. Isn't Rot supposed to be here?
No, he is. He's up. Munchin's there.
Right, you guys are still outside. He's like, yeah, he's probably at the window. Right, that's that's the gesture, which Rod isn't. He's waiting for you guys to get in, but that's that.
Warren would look at it and drink like he is taking a shot out behind the football field in high school.
Slappy will reach for the canteen to take it, and if Warren, I assume, just hands it off to him.
Yep.
And he'll take his mouthful, which I'm assuming, he'll take his mouthful, leaving enough for Rot, obviously, and then hold on to it.
There's more than enough for Rot, right? But you guys just basically, it's like a mouthful. It's like, oh, okay, down it, plenty more than that. But the effects. For the two Sabbat members, this is the power of the verniculum. Whatever. Like, you're drinking blood and you're like, it's old. It's definitely got some punch, a little kick. I could go for more. That's good. If nobody wants that little bit, I'll take care of it. I'll lick the mixing bowl as you raise your hands and hold that, right? But ultimately, you're like, huh. What you do like about it is, and probably even creepy, I'll even give it to you because it's a good effect. For Sullivan, they both look at the car like they could see through it. Like it's almost like the beast went, they're next. All right, he's right there. That's good to know, right? Like, it's helped them dial it in. A little chilling, and you feel a little defensive, a little more than you intended, right? However, for you guys, what to know it is that you'll never have that third blood bond. The misnomer is you can never be bloodbound. That's a fact. And the Sabbat is verniculum. It can only get stronger. This isn't a verniculum. They have to do that ritual to forge those bonds anew. However, you are still welcome to feel too in terms of a blood bond, but it's never full servitude is the point of it. That's your defense, and that's how it works. And so that was what Mike was hinting at earlier, and I thought Warren was going to put his foot in his mouth all over again.
Yeah, I know. Did you notice how I was like, when Sully was like, hey, what was that? It's like, it's nothing, Sully. Focus.
Warren can learn new tricks. I am giving Warren an XP in advance. Well done, sir. That'll work. However, for Slappy, this isn't the same. It is very much in the capacity that Sullivan had, that experience, that different look at Ballard. Here's for you, though. Ballard didn't have fancy words and a ritual for you to go through. There was no context and onus to kind of hammer home this point. And so for you, it feels more hollow than anything. When you have that sip, it's like, I guess Ballard's okay. It's a thought quickly as you look at him, he's all right. The guy didn't plan on being fat. It's when he was taken. What do you do? And you're like, man, whatever. I don't even know this guy, right? You do that real quick and push it off. Let's just go upstairs is where Slappy's at. Exactly. Like, come on. And it's real quick, but it's done. It's done and it's done. As folks can file upstairs accordingly. Do note, Sullivan, you got 2 more nights of this. That's how that is with him. In and of itself, they have a drink and maybe more if you choose to tell them that they were supposed to as well. And that's up to you. Of what you recall, and I'll leave that up to you. Trust me, I have notes. I had fun writing that scene. And this is all part and parcel of the rehabilitation of Sullivan, a.k.a. DJ. We take good notes, right? That's the factor. But as your ST, it's what you have etiquette for. But I don't remember. Was it that or a little bit? Roll it. You'll get info. We'll deal with that. But on your own merit, I'm assuming you guys are going upstairs now?
Yep. Could go see Rot.
Rot.
Good old gut.
You were waiting. There's only so many TV shows you can watch. Vikings had a new season come out, and you're kind of, yay, all right, moving, skipping. What else could you watch? Maybe your third bad vampire flick just to get the humor of it rolling, depending on how it is. Ancient civilizations and secrets is the Nosferatu 10-1. Your surfing channels is the point. But when you hear the keys at the latch and, all that, and they come walking in, it's easy enough to shut everything off or to leave it on and just, what's up, everybody? Looks like Rock's been just lounging.
Where have y'all been?
Getting fucked up at an old church.
Yes, Christ wasn't there today.
Ramsey will take the flask and toss it at Rot. No, but it is communion time.
All right. He'll humor and just undo it. What does it smell like, Bob?
It smells actually good. It's
Cheers.
delicious, right? I mean, it's blood, and that's the effect. You drink it, and Rot, you've been Sabat, and this isn't the first time you had to drink other kindred blood. There's not even an effect. You don't even feel a positive feeling towards Ballard because he's not around and you're not aware of that yet. That's part and parcel of it. Be aware that when you see Ballard, you'll feel some type of way toward him. But for the moment, you're just like, it's really freaking good. Is this all for me, guys? He hits it again, right? No one told him he had to stop drinking, but he's like, yeah, thanks, guys, for thinking of me when you had takeout. That's good.
Damn, you must be the most trusted Nosferatu out there. He didn't even have to give you the fuck up speech.
I didn't think he'd do it.
Not a single fucking question.
I appreciate.
God damn.
God, he's got a can-do attitude. All right, Sully, who are we killing?
Oh shit, we're killing somebody? I thought we were here for communion.
It's the dedication.
He'll pause for a second as he takes off his jacket once again, and he just like lays on a chair. Before finally standing up, putting his hands behind the seat. Kevin Jackson.
What?
Fuck.
Suck my dick. Kevin Jackson.
Rod, I shit you not, just looks at the flask and is like, anything's better. He takes another swig.
That's bullshit if you telling the truth.
He lets us in here and now we got to kill him?
No, you don't have to kill him. He just has to be put to bed.
That's not better.
That's not any easier, dude.
Does it need a nightlight? What the fuck, Sully?
No questions asked.
Yo, you remember when I said, is there anything else I should know? This was on the list for sure.
This is part and parcel of it. I told you we have to clean up.
Clean up.
We have a mission.
This is cleaning up. You know, the last time I showed some trust to a motherfucker in this gang when he said, come with me to this meeting. My Camarilla friend is going to teach us just right and we'll be all good. Me and the homies got jumped in a broken down, busted ass church by a bunch of punk ass anarchists. What? How? Somebody told you that we got to ice Kevin Jackson and you think it's that simple?
I understand your concern. I guess we should put more things on the table. One, Critias is no more. I've seen him. Oh, but I've seen it. I physically and visually have been to the university. He is no more. Two, word has been going around that it may have been Riot who had caused this.
Hang on one second.
Sure.
I need you to roll your Carthaginian lore dice for me. That's Warren. It's the only one in the group who has it. It's cool to front, but we're about to see something.
I got to scroll on my sheet. It's been a while. Stand by me. All right. Do I got to do anything with hunger or any modifiers here?
Just rolling dice. I just need successes or failures, sir.
Only one.
So it is impossible for your character, Mike, to shake the rage. You feel it. You can keep it in check. But I need you to think about that for a second. Here is a person out of time that came here, taught you the folly of Carthage, taught you that there were principles and a way to be amongst the philosopher kings, that you have to perfect the body as well as the mind to make sound decisions for the whole, that gave you the hope of the ideal world you want to build and what you want to be. And you betrayed it once because you went to the Sabbat, because you thought the Sabbat, well, they lied to you. You realize that. That's what caused you to come back. They told you that through their vernaculum and unity and brotherhood, you had that ideal. And it was like an opposition of the Ventru. And it turns out That was bullshit. And they got many a Bruja like that, but you kind of broke free when you saw the breakdown and the Sabbat was really using people and their political bullshit towards a war that wasn't even real as far as you were concerned. Then you came back and you got re-educated again from a guy who fucking forgave you. He forgave everybody here because of you. Because he was your teacher. He was your mentor. Everybody learned from him. This guy was basically a living book of what Kindred wanted to be, of what they hoped to grow to, and how to get out of this whole environment of kill or be killed and tyranny and nonsense, that there was a way that anarchs could exist with elders, and there doesn't need to be a distinction, and consider mankind to be part of that mix. And you consider that to be true. And someone killed them. And it's like the only thing you'd hear out of Sullivan's mouth. Where everybody else gets to downplay it, I won't let you, the player, downplay it. That's the power of that lore sheet. You believed in Critias, in Carthage. And here it is. It's now ashes and dust. You'll never get it back. If he's going to live on, it's because you remember it and you feel like you sullied yourself. Right? You came back here to be healed by being at that guy, hence you hanging out the university near him. Time would forgive enough, and eventually you could. And it's been taken right off the table from you.
Sullivan, kind of mid-conversation, you'll kind of see Warren doing the the head nod and the uh-huhs and the for sure, like he's letting you continue with your statement. What I'm going to do, I'm going to proceed to the hallway in the Haven, in the apartment, where you hang your closets, or where you hang your clothes in your closet, right?
Yeah.
And I'm going to just take one of my hands, probably my good hand, like my fastball hand. I'm going to see if I can manage to put it through the door and retrieve a curtain rod. Not a curtain rod. The dowel, like the long-ass thick piece of wood, and bring it back while Sullivan is continuing his explanation of why we're supposed to believe and trust right now.
And so look at this the way it needs to be, right? He does. In the middle of you talking and going on and went to the second portion and you continue, you stop. And you stop because when Warren leaves the room, yeah, that's cool. Yeah. You guys are used to Warren. You were expecting to leave the apartment, right? You really thought he might be just walking off because that's kind of classic Warren. He's pissed in some type of way. He's going to leave and do whatever. And then you hear this smash as the door is the door. The sneeze is not the smash, but it is a smash. Then reaches through, grabs the dowel rod. You pull it out and you're staring at it and how easy it was. It's the one thing I want to marvel at, Warren. Anger gets shit done, as it said. And when your fist went through and pulled back that dowel rod, it felt good just to get something achieved for the moment, just to think about it. It's a small reminder that you can do things when you don't sit around and talk about them all night long. And Sullivan, it's up to you if you let that interruption be the everything okay, if you're just going to go fucking Bruja and continue going at it.
Yeah, like I guess he's talking, but he could do that mouthing like, really? Like, but he'll continue so long, but he'll keep an eye out on Warren because
yeah, at this point Slappy would go up like behind Sullivan, like almost like protective, like when Warren does that, because he knows the Bruja rage and he can kind of see it. And he doesn't want this to escalate any further. So he will stand behind Sullivan almost protectively.
Word.
Sullivan will continue. I'll give you the information I know so that this all makes sense, so that you understand why we're doing what we have to do tonight. One, I went to go see someone at the university, and unfortunately, it led me down to Critias. There was a strong smell of blood. I walked into what was his office. Unfortunately, sometimes being a vampire has ill effects, such as creating rooms where no light could come in, which also means creating no exits that could be done. He got ambushed. He at least took out 6 people with him, from my count. At least the ashes that were left behind anyway. They carved into his chest and were able to take out, I'm assuming, his heart. I can't really describe it, as I'm not exactly a doctor, but I'd have to, if this means any to you, it's almost like it exploded out, where it's like a chest burster for those of you who have seen Alien, but a lot more graphic because they had to pull the heart out itself.
And so, on the word of someone, and after the destruction of the walking and talking historical artifact, you want us to trust that they're going to just let us kill this guy who's about my age and couldn't swat a gnat off the testicles of this Greek philosopher who's laying in ashes beneath the place I went to school? Right? Is that the shape of it? Like that's the thing we're supposed to be focused on?
Some pieces of information that came from a source is to say that Riot had originally led this entire thing. It seems like it was Anarch based, but after having a conversation with he'll snap his finger. What is that sire's name again? I just had it.
Your friend Cornelius?
Cornelius, that's right. After having a conversation personally with Cornelius, I could tell you that Riot was not it. It almost seems like a smokescreen. Does this mean anything to any of you?
I would think it'd be Tom or the surrogate. But we're not going
I keep hearing about this. Myself and Slappy would love to know what it is
Five
that
of
we're
us
walking
went
into.
into Critias's academy, and 5 of us went out, but that's because 2 of us walked away. Tom, our ductus, and surrogate, our priest.
So you think Tom killed Critias, but you're out here yelling at us about it. Not you, Ramsey, but Warren. Like you didn't lead them right to Critias.
No, man. You don't.
Oof, I need your resolve composure there, Warren, at that. Because it's like, and let me know if I'm wrong, Mike. It's like you're wounded, you're hurt, and you just hear him go like, you didn't blame anybody. Right? You just heard that this happened and you were trying to make heads or tails of it. Just letting you know, Slappy, that you are deadly with your word choice here, right?
They don't call Slappy for nothing.
Warren, it's your fault that you were put in that situation. You had to do it.
I'm just waiting for the backhand now.
All right. What that is, Warren, is you take one social damage, right? 1 will damage, as we have here, because it stings to hear him say that, but you're not out of it yet, but definitely it's your eyes will fixate on Slappy a set or 2, and it's not lost on you, Slappy, but maybe you get into him a little bit.
I didn't hear myself blame anybody. You can tell me if I was talking out of turn, absent-mindedly, Slap. The point that I'm trying to make is that whoever's asking us to kill this prince that, a week ago made his threats and a month ago told us all that the slightest fuck up will be the last fuck up. It doesn't strike you as odd that now this is supposed to be the guy on the top of our hit list?
I never said we had to kill him. I said we just had to put the pine to him.
And
right. And the thing at the church was just supposed to be a conversation with Slap's old friend Anita. And, if I was on the other side of that equation, I definitely would have killed all of us. They chose not to for reasons that are their own. But we shouldn't be here.
He'll pause at that and he'll look over at Slappy. He's like, care to explain that? Because I don't have that part of the equation.
Well, look, man, when all the shit was going down, I reached out to Anita. You talked to Cornelius. I'm sure he's my sire, right? So I went to speak to Anita. And do you know who Anita's sire is?
Just shake his head.
That's also Cornelius. Bada bing. We're like sisters of kindred or whatever you would call it, right? So I reached out to her on behalf to try and see what was going on, try and get my ground. And when we got there, that's when we found out that Critias had been killed. And then from there, the rest of the story. We were betrayed. I was betrayed, and the rest of us were as well. Warren and Ramsey, who both agreed to go with me on good faith.
So you're saying they assumed something out of you, and that's why
there was
attacked.
also a Latino hit squad. I completely forgot that detail. I'm sorry. After I got my ass beat, memory became a little foggy.
Anita's not Camarilla, is she?
No, she's an anarch.
Then I present to the court, and he'll look over at Warren. This is a separate instance altogether. That's a fuck up. That's a personal situation, and you got caught up on it. Maybe we'll make amends. At least from the Camarilla end of things, this is the mission. One, I have to state this again, and he'll look at each one of them. We are not killing him. We are not eating him. We're putting the wood in him. Do we understand that?
Yeah, we're not killing him. Or eating him.
Good. He'll rub his eyes and... You're not wrong, Warren, into thinking that this is a fucked up situation. And who knows what this evening will end up being. But I can tell you this. The people who gave the command are the real power players. You'll never, ever, ever see the hand. And if you do, it's a scary fucking thought. And I can tell you that up front of those that are above us. And sometimes even the prince is not the prince.
What are you talking about?
It's not that important. I'm not going to boggle your mind right now. Just accept that we have to do the mission. That being the case...
Did your shadow at least tell you how the fuck we're supposed to pull this off?
Yeah. Chainsaws, shotguns, swords. Something that doesn't really damage too much. So we have to get a Toys R Us shopping list. So we got to go prepared.
So whoever you spoke to and worked magical favors with wants us probationary Sabbat to do some Sabbat shit to the sitting prince of the city of Chicago.
He'll raise a finger. We are hounds. It's title.
Oh, we're hounds.
Not a prestigious
now.
one.
Okay.
But it's work.
We're hounds for the prince that we're going to... Whatever.
The prince who isn't the prince.
Yeah.
Who is the prince, but isn't the prince.
In the great words of Ramsey, let's take care of the mission. It's shit that we shouldn't worry ourselves about now. When it's all said and done, we just need to reap the rewards. We only get this. We either make it through or we don't. That drink you guys probably had, as bad as it was, I mean, shit. If anything, if you want to have one final drink as a family, as whatever it is that we are at Best Buds, even not that, but at least to have a moment of respite before we go back into the shit, we could do so.
If I hear one more person say we're in a group that's a family, I'm going to lose my fucking shit. I had enough of that.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't. Never mind.
I don't care. What do
you remember this conversation when we up on Meat Hook, Sullivan?
Again? I'm sure we have half a dozen steaks between the fucking three of us that were just got woken up.
Listen, to give you more assurance of the fact that I'm about us, and he'll motion to everyone up to including Rod in the corner as he sits on the couch, just looking off in the distance. I apologize for not trusting you sooner.
It's all good. I mean, you know.
To give it more weight, I apologize about not listening to you regarding Neely.
I knew you weren't going to, man. I just had to tell you so you would have confirmation when it came up.
Well, this is my comeuppance, and I will take it to the chin because I want to make sure that we get this all on the table before we go in, because we are going to go in together, and I want that trust to be there.
fucking go stake the prince.
Thanks for that.
Cost of our continued existence, I suppose. Slappy like
Slappy on the shoulder. We'll make it out. Remember, they don't call you Slap for nothing, right? You know, smile weakly. We will need gear.
See if I got anything left on one of my cards.
I'll pay for it. I just need to know where you want to get the gear and what type of gear you need to perform this action. Speaking of, we need to find the prince himself. He is a busy person, but he's not going to show himself unless he needs to.
I don't know the first thing about tracking down, but it's not my area, man.
I
think maybe there's also an important part of this, DJ. Do you remember what the situation was with the prince?
We're going to give an address, so I believe, right?
No, it's what was going on with Kevin Jackson.
Regarding his newfound ghoul. Ooh.
His newfound ghoul? You were at a clan meeting, and one of the things they brought up, and granted was nonchalant, I'm going to register you this far because I really think someone should be combing over some notes of a heavily recorded and important conversation where Loden told you off the bat that Kevin Jackson had failed, and the price of that failure was what? Okay. Well, we'll see how much of it you remember here with a die roll as we're going to do this here, because I think that's more than fair at this point. Scene's been given, and although it's plot specific, how you handle that plot is up to your character's memory at this point. It's a thing I love doing. It's everyone does it, right? You try to go off the top of your head. Often things are going to get lost in the mix here. We're going to do intelligence, and we're going to go with, well, I like politics because it's a strong roll for you, and you're trying to remember the circumstances, and I think this is very fitting. There was a lot told to you.
Three.
Okay. You do remember that a couple points. One, well, yeah, Kevin Jackson stepped out, and there were crimes that Loden laid at the feet of KJ as to why I was there. But one of them was the fact that he had decided to basically wage war,
right,
with somebody in the city, specifically had a name. Do you remember that person?
Carlisle.
Correct. Now, do you remember why it was said?
The most I remember, and correct me if I'm wrong, is because he's starting to get sloppy, and he's taking this war as personal, and he's letting it spill out.
It's important that you get this down. Write it down, take a picture. I don't care what, but it's critical that you get this. Carlisle is the actual brother to a ghoul of Kevin Jackson's that Kevin Jackson had enslaved a long time ago and has been using to rule his gangs down to South America to strengthen KJ's empire. Right? Made him a blood slave, his most loyal, and then Carlo brought him back up to help him deal with this set of circumstances in the city. Now, you don't know how Carlisle figured it out. You don't know how if somebody told him, you know, if the dime was dropped or whatever, but you don't know this Carlisle. That's first and foremost. That's a name unknown to you up until the point where it came out of Loden's mouth, but that he's a serious guy. And there was other things mentioned, but your role's not good enough to remember everything in this meeting. But that's a critical piece of information. Understand why you've been put to go after someone. You begin to understand why it's so important. So I won't, because it's a politics role. I'm going to fill this in for you because Sullivan wouldn't get it wrong. I'm going to make sure DJ hears it clear.
Right.
The fact that Kevin Jackson ghouled someone and that was a vampire's brother, blood relative.
Yeah.
Technically, a lot of princes would consider that a violation of domain, depending on how it worked out. In particular, if it is somebody that is of known renown or what have you, or a different clan or could cause a problem. This is, you keep the peace. You ask the prince permission to do things like that for that very reason. And to someone like Loden, he absolutely is going to demand the pedantic need to drag in front. This is his goal. I want to make him blah, blah, blah important to me. KJ didn't do that. It's often wondered how KJ took over the streets as he did, this is a piece to it. Because of that, as you look at them now and understand that they're trying to figure out what went on, that should make it crystal clear to you why that's a piece that you have to deal with KJ. Because he's the one who's waged an open war on what looks like one anarch. Right? You don't know where Carlisle came from to threaten KJ in whatever he's doing, but Carlisle feels that he could do it. That's probably an important piece is for you to figure out who the hell Carlisle is for that regard. And the part I don't want you to miss, Kevin Jackson has an empire. He's not standing on one gang guarding him, right? I want you to look up Chicago at some point and look up the gangs in Chicago and understand the world of darkness. These people tap dance to his word. They're not aware they are, but this guy has power by troop. That's what he has. And it went so far as to say he's an empire all the way down in South America up to Chicago. That doesn't mean that the stops along the way he doesn't know anybody. So Sullivan can grasp at least that much and begin to think about it again. Do you think you're going to go and get the Frog Brothers and a couple steaks and a few pistols and you're going to take care of this in 5 minutes?
No.
You could. I know Sullivan doesn't think he can handle it, but you're looking at some people in the Sabbat who apparently think it's a matter of driving through the drive-thru, ask him where he's at, go to drive up to his house, hop out, and wage war. In inner city Chicago, the murder capital of the world, before it was the world of darkness, I mean, these aren't exactly street-level people you got in here in Coterie, right? Maybe they know how to survive, but put that all together as you're thinking about it again. So if we look at it another way, as you're pondering, as players, you've screwed yourselves 8 ways from Sunday. That's what you did. You painted yourself in a corner and then dumped the bucket on your head and then asked for payment for a job not done, right, is the equivalent. And then they turned around and said, we'll pay you. You just got one more job. Paint this next house, but use your fingers. And by the way, it's the White House. You do a bad job, let's just say there's a different role for you in the painting career than what you have, but we're only giving your fingertips. And the paint you use, make sure you don't get any blood on the wall. I don't know how many strokes you think it's going to take before it starts peeling the skin off and being an uncomfortable situation, nor do they care. This is the halls of prestige, literally showing an example. You will perform. It's not when, it's not how, but you will get it done or you will die in service. This is the strength of the Camarilla showing itself as it was meant to be. This is also why an Anarch Revolt happened in the first place. But at the same time, you don't really have a choice, right? This wasn't an option. It was that or they're dead. And you chose what you did. So here's where you're at. But that is what you guys really have to weigh here in this discussion, I think, any more than figuring out, okay, we're going to drive up and get them done. That's great. If you think you got to pick a target and that's that, at least let your friends know they're dying for the right reason. Right, here's the full story. What can we do about it? That's the important piece.
So he'll fill in the coterie. You have to understand that Jackson stepped out of pocket, for lack of a better term. There's a specific, his empire being what it is, there's a specific person. Some of you may or may not have heard of him, and I have bits and tidbits from Cornelius of a man named Carlisle, who apparently was very, very violent at one point and at least stood his ground for what he believed in. Granted, not the way I would run business, but that is what it is. However, his brother is currently Gould by Kevin Jackson. Now, where you might not think this might mean anything, I'm sure those of you who still remember what it's like to have your family members taken from you, you could see where this is going to cause war. This also explains why he probably put out that blood hunt out there for as many pieces regarding Carlisle, Cornelius, whatever the case is regarding it. In the olden days, and I should take that back because those days are here now as well, violating such actions, doing something like that, and it's considered a very, very personal thing, wasn't done the appropriate way. Jackson just acted on a personal court, so he's not acting like a prince. And it's only tipping out the scales that he is letting something very, very outside his realm kind of spill out. If you had to look at some way, we have to bring him to heel unto justice. He answers to people the same way that we do as well. So if there's anything that makes you feel comfortable about the fact that there's some sort of equality, well, there's always someone above you, no matter how you look at it. And he also has to pay the piper. We just happen to be the instruments of it.
So how do we find him?
That is a good question.
Would I have any ideas, Bob?
As Rot, how to find him? Rot,
Yeah.
you have a problem finding your own kind. Right? That's
Yeah.
what I'm. Rot, what is it that you're. And I've been wondering this myself. You found out some stuff. I understand there's some heavy things laid around, but you went and did something. They haven't impressed you. Are you going to bother telling them what you've been up to? Or are you just going to basically sit there and hope they never call on you in class?
At this point, I'm wondering, do I add more shit to the pile? Or, well, yes, on the one hand, we have Ramsey's friend missing. I'm pretty sure Ramsey has worse things to worry about.
Let me pause a second so we don't talk out of game about what you could talk about, and you're going to tell us what you might have said, but you never said it, because that'll just be wasted words, right? Yeah. It's either you're doing it or you're not. Well, I'll do that for you as an ST, but we'll do it from a different angle so that it doesn't ruin your big reveal, if that's what you choose to do. Here's what we're looking at. So step out of character for a second. Game paused. There's a lot that you've cultivated in a shitstorm. Yeah. You just have. I would argue it started when Ramsey helped slaughter a hospital that led to a police station, also got slaughtered, and Warren was part of that. You guys were there. Different lights, different facets. You were Sabat then, and you might have thought that was gravy. But what we're highlighting here is that this chronicle began on an even keel. Everybody had their political jabs and their situation, but there was no fuel to the fire they had going on. It was a slow burn until you guys got involved and you brought the nitrous. Right, we brought the napalm and the nitrous and calling in the wrong coordinates on purpose. And you decided to coat yourself in gasoline at a point and just start running around and jumping through flames to see if they would burn you. And they do. And they burnt you so bad you couldn't even get up without agony, except they put you out and they're making you walk a mile to get a sip of water. That's the end result here. It's a lesson here. It's repercussions, right? Not going to brag on it, but there's an ST thing here that's going on too. The boring part is you're dead.
Yeah.
That's the boring part, right? I've heard it said, I'm tired of how many people say that we're going to die if we don't do this or else. Well, that might be the problem, is that you built characters that were supposed to handle, you give me an ultimatum, I am the ultimatum. We're fucking Sabat. That's the lesson. But we're well past it. Your point to rise to glory, to die in a hill or succeed, was all the way back when you were going to break apart as a pack. Take that to heart. You chose a different path, and that path was cowardice. And it was self-serving survival. There is no argument out of that. It's testified at the moment. Now, it is under the basis of people believing survival was the better court of valor so my beast can continue feeding. Right? I want to point that out too. It's not to say it's bad, but different ways you can look at it. But the point is, now that your chickens have come home to roost and everything's adding up, you've missed things. Slappy missed connecting with this clan despite phone calls and multiple attempts to get him to get involved. He's ignored them. And what were they doing? Bruja be bruja. And people were calling in favors to make some shit happen. It has gotten out of hand. And he got caught in the blowback. And he has a heavy bruja background with an anarch sister that, that's where that ended up. Rot's supposed to have a deep connection with this clan, but as we remembered, Rot started being a plant and then got called out and thrown away and ruined on Elysium as it was revealed that he was Sabat too.
Yep.
As there went that anarch thing and it burnt up his connections to knowing all info and it put him in a spot. But you had a Venture connection that too got burned up and went up in smoke as we realized when you tell your clan, fuck you, I'm going to go meet over here instead of where I'm directed when I messed up. I'm not going to play clan politics. And clan politics forced him to play and showed their reach and showed their power. That's where you're at. That's if we're going to play ball. By the way, a lot of people might be expecting you. Even you would think your characters would do that, whatever. You're still in control of your character.
Yeah. Right
now, you guys can say, check, please. And we're going to take cab rides and Ubers and we're going to get a car. And we're going to drive to the next town over. Screw that. We're done. I ain't doing none of this.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know how to find the prince. It's not up to me. Do we got money? I still got a card. We could rent that. We could leave. We could check out. We could take vacations. We can get out of here. You could also say, F that. Whoever killed Critias dies, and that's all I care about. Sullivan, but yeah, great. I tell you what, he's still outside. Let's go kill Ballard and figure it out. Let's go jump him. Let's cut the noose. Let's show them what it really means to be free. And we're about to do this from a different angle. And we'll do that. Oh, are you guys going to side with the Anarchs or side with the camera? We're going to side with us. And we're just going to go through and start taking heads until we're dead. All right. You can do that too. I'm here to let you pick how you want this to go. Right. And that's all I'm going to say. But let me tell you something. The disservice, if you're sitting back and waiting for a glory path to unfold where you get to do whatever, if it's one thing I've shown you as a storyteller, I am like that plant, right? Remember Little Shop of Horrors?
Yeah.
Trap? You guys have landed in a sap, and I'm slowly enjoying digesting you before I've closed it. And I believe I have you right where you need to be. And no matter where you go, you're just rolling around in my stick, as it said, getting more slimy and more coated. And slowly I'm enjoying you fall down here as I'm letting you watch the light slowly close. And for everybody that's not struggling and moving to improve their position, you're just getting further down, right? You're just sliding down. And I'm just enjoying my sustenance, knowing it's coming to me, no problem. And there's a choice here. Either you're going to get to the top as that fly and shake it off and somehow be at the top, not fully out of it yet, but at least you're not down at the bottom, or you're going to be nutritious and delicious. And that's going to end it for you. And that choice is up to you. But it is still you to make that decision. So to that end, I don't run scenes for no reason. I'm pointing to Rott and Sullivan. A lot was said to both of you in those scenes. You were warned, you were told, you were showcased. There's notes to take. There's paths that you have to take. I know 3 people who are absent, didn't have the privilege of knowing that stuff yet. They're here now. If you don't get by now, you got to stop shitting on each other. Let me tell you that. Sullivan, Warren, everybody, stop shitting on each other. If you don't get that, I'll say it again. The reason why this family camaraderie being together doesn't work is because you don't work it. It's because you don't work it. You failed to have camaraderie with yourselves, no one else. And if you're going to continue to do that, what you're going to do is, it might be you're on camera and you're saying to yourself, whatever, my character is going to shine. I know what I'm doing. I'm Gangrel, bitch. I'm a scout of the Sabbat and I could do whatever I like. That's great. But what's that scouting got you? What you scouting in a city? You ever never heard of Google? I don't need you to scout shit. I know where places are. They're on a map and defined. So what you doing now? That's one way that Sullivan can look at it. I guarantee from Ramsey's angle, why don't we just go and just end some of these people? It makes no sense to politically back someone who's just weak and we could take off the table. But you haven't heard that conversation. You know why? Both of you got an ego a mile wide. I'm being nice here when I say that because I don't mean anything mean by it. It's unconscious. It's like you can watch Sullivan be in a room. Everybody, this is how it is, and this is how it has to go. And immediately it's all over Brentron's face. Like, yeah, why? Who cares? It's not backed, but it's also not discussed. What's the issue that Ramsey has with what was just said? Now, why that goes away is because if I know you and you know me, we can air out how we think, and we can easier get to a point of decision. Do you guys see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So here's some important facts here. For whatever reason, Slap's quiet about the fact. I mean, he said Cornelius is his sire and his sister's Anita. But I'm going to argue in Bernogle's half and say maybe he's new and doesn't know he can say, look, man, let's go talk to them. Like, it's great that we got all this stuff going on, but it seems like they're worth talking to. Or give me a minute and I'll be back. I'll take Ramsey as backup, or I'll take Warren as backup, probably Warren, because at least he's clan, and we'll be back. Let's kind of go shake that tree and figure out what's going on. You could do that. You guys may say, fuck that, we're a coterie. Last time we went together, it was just 3 of us. Look what they did. So now it's a show of force. Screw clan. Let's go ahead and chat the way it is. Why might you do that? Well, it's a potential filling out of the story to get more that's going on. And it's not for me as the ST, it's for you as a player. You need more info to make a sound decision. And you have phone connections for some of those people. That's one end. On the other end, from Rott's side of the table, everyone thinks the Nas are gone, including you.
Yeah.
You've had some scary realizations. And you hit a door and you said, on 2 occasions, I need people to come help me take care of this this problem. In order for you to move forward, it's for you to be vocal about it. They have to know it's an option on the table. But you holding it to yourself, you know who gets to solve that problem? Not you. And that's right. It's that simple. You're still looking at that door going, man, I wish somebody had a key.
Right.
Forgetting that Sullivan is a key master and Ramsey can pick a lock blindfolded, right? Like the door doesn't have to be shut, but there it is. Now, I'm not going to go through everybody in that capacity, but I hope your brain's there. Let's stop thinking in an acting perspective here and understand, do we have the tools to handle some of this? Do we have the connections to handle some of this? And I will point to one important fact. Back in the day, if somebody remembered, they took a lore sheet for Critias and how important it was when they got here and backed it up and worked with it, that might have opened some doors and changed some facts, but we didn't. It's not bad that he didn't, but it's one of those things that go, lore sheets matter when we take them.
Right.
That's the lesson there. And we just move forward. Now with what we have, I would ask his players out of game. Anybody got a fucking lore sheet that's sitting on the side that might be important here and relevant to help us out of is there any Hail Mary we could do here? You got a sheet. Work it, boys. Figure it out. Take that time. It doesn't all have to be a show right here because you're working as a team too. And I turn that ball back over to you. Make your choice.
All right. So, just yes, no. Are we going to take down? Are we going to stake this? Are we going to stake Kevin Jackson?
Sounds like it.
Is that what? Okay. So Mike's yes. I'm seeing there are worse big picture the stuff that I've seen on the side. I feel we got a worse problem to deal with, and it's hiding underground.
What do you mean?
I mean, do you guys remember how things in the look back at every disaster that has been happening to us as a society? Who's the first one that disappears?
The Nos.
Yeah. I'm sorry, they're not here.
Hey, if they're not here, that means they can't help us, and we're not going to live.
That means there's a bigger threat.
It's a bigger threat that we won't ever get the chance to face if we don't get these old rich people off
These
our
old
ass.
rich people are going to keep killing each other till the end of time, but there is a NOS underground that will kill us all.
I mean, it sounds like we
It's
should
in the
stay
Gurney
close.
Mall. It's made its warren within the Gurney Mall. And it's just been feeding this whole time, waiting for its moment.
Well,
Ballard, KJ, they can kill each other as much as they want and keep using us as pawns, but really there's an ancient underneath there that is going to murder every single one of us with no prejudice.
Yeah,
This is what the Sabbat were made for. This should be what everyone should be making their priority.
Slappy will shrug his shoulders at that and be like, shit, like over my head, right? That's fucking crazy, Rot.
Sullivan just like pauses for a second. He looks at the other two former Sabbat members.
Yeah, this is the thing that we would generally handle with fire and steaks and some entertainment before or after. Whatever's under the Gurney Mall has clearly got priorities that don't involve us at this time.
He'll also take a look back over at Rot and be like,
So we stake KJ for Ballard or whoever. Then what? And that person gives us another test. Then another test.
he'll Rod, I need to get your mindset out of this, right? Because Jens, correct me if I'm wrong here in thinking this. Are you just spewing Sabbat rhetoric right now?
You think it's Sabbat rhetoric? You think the boogeyman doesn't exist? That the boogeyman doesn't eat little kids that keep going missing?
I've met the boogeyman. I've literally
Did you?
met the boogeyman a couple of hours ago.
And You're still
I'm on the
here.
hook with that boogeyman. And at one point or another, that boogeyman may or may not eat me, and he may or not eat you. He ain't going to eat me tonight because we got work to do, and it might not be tonight. But what do I have to, unless you're telling me specifically what other kindred of note he ate? Because let's be real, mortals go missing. That's not going to be an issue. Are you telling me kindred of note have gone missing? Yes or no?
Saying every single one that wanders away, there's a reason why we don't leave Chicago and drive away. There's a reason why we have to have safe paths in and out of these cities. We have protocols in place to make sure that we are still alive when we're trying to leave or just sleep somewhere secluded and not be found.
Who ate who, Rot? That's what I need to know. Who ate who?
I don't get. Are you looking for some nobility bullshit?
No, we're looking for something we can do something about. Rot, you said it's below Gurney Malls?
Yes.
I have no problem going to kill some ancient fuck. No problem at all. Or a prince of the Camarilla. Whichever one we can actually find and do something about. Because if there is some big monster that's beneath Gurney Malls and we stake it and we bring it back to Ballard or whoever wants this done, that's still something they would have interest in. Still some big predator that's infringing on someone's domain. That's what this comes into.
Slappy's gonna like raise his hands up and like pause and like kind of like and just be like, look, as far as I know, from what Sully has said, we are now, for all intents and purposes, hounds. And we have a job. And he's given us this important piece of information regarding Carlisle. Now, I might be able to learn more about this, but it seems like that's the key. And I might be one dumb son of a bitch, but I think Anita's still my sister. And I think I still might be able to reach out to her. Now, I don't know nothing about no ancients under the city, Rot. That's a lot. But we got to take care of this now. Well, not now, but at least start working towards it.
You think Anita can get us to KJ? Or Anita knows someone that can get us to KJ? I'll follow that through. I'll shake her fucking hand instead of ripping her throat out if that's what it takes.
Oh, part two. Remember, there's a part 2 to this. I did mention to you, Ramsey, regarding us needing to either see whether Riot or Anita will take that missing spot that Critias has left behind.
Jesus Christ.
So 2 birds, 1 stone. It might buy us some time.
Real quick, Michele, I agree with that message. Go ahead and roll your politics, your lore sheet of 2 I see you have in it, and you can include your intelligence to that roll. You're looking for 2 as a difficulty.
All right. Got it. Politics and intelligence. All right.
Please don't forget your hunger for this roll.
The next question. Oh, and I almost typed in the wrong command. I thought something was missing. Hunger. And my hunger is... Oh. No. I'm sorry. It's 2.
Did our hunger go down from Ballard's blood, or?
Yes, I'm sorry.
Oh.
The drink would have brought 1 for each of you. I didn't even say that, but yes, it would have.
Okay.
Okay, from this, it's up to you if you choose to tell them or not. They were rather dismissive of you, but they're looking for someone specific. It's kind of what you do.
Yeah.
Right? I do mean that. It's something that you could find and track someone in the city where their haunts and hangouts are, but they just basically shit all over what you were trying to tell them is the more important thing. And I agree. That's something that I would weigh in consideration for your character. Loyalty is shown to loyalty given. They don't even trust you to understand what you got going on because it's more important. And kind of the plight of the Nas, right? But if they're not going to realize the fact that, okay, Nas are missing, that's important, and we need to make a connection or maybe a win for them or see what's going on, that's not relevant. You don't get Nas privileges. Or you're going to say, yeah, sure, I'll follow along and point. I'll leave that up to you.
I feel like if I could give them a reason, like tip the scales, say, oh yeah, somebody important. Sure. Even if it's a bullshit, it's an answer I know to be false that they can't prove.
What you're trying to tell them is it's the Nictacu, right? That's what I feel you're beating the drum at.
Yes.
How would they know about it if you didn't tell them about it?
And this might be the fault of the player, because I don't know how common knowledge you
certainly do know how common knowledge it's not. It's Nas Clan book for a reason, right?
Right.
That's where you saw it, where you got wind of it, and why it's Nas privileges. It's like it's so Nas. It begins with N, right? That's how that is, right? It's another way to look at it. But certainly they're not worried about it because that's nothing that they're saddled with. Which welcome to the plight of being a Nosferatu. If a Nos disappears and no one's around, does anybody go looking?
No.
Now, where that's humorous, I'm not laughing because it's a very cold-hearted fact is that Nosferatu are best heard, never seen.
Mm-hmm.
And it's cold how they're only used. No one ever goes on a limb for a Nosferatu. It's always to make a deal. And you begin to understand why typically the Nos and Nosferatu tribute close ranks in a lot of ways. Like during times of war, they've never been openly warring with each other that you can recall. And you've never been told to just kill them, even in the Sabbat side of things. So, caveat emptor as to what you do. But yes, that's your answer for the role.
So proceeding from there, unless Rot says anything, Sully will go back to saying, hey, so conversation with Anita then?
It's probably our best bet. I mean, I saw it in her eyes. I mean, I was mad, but she had regret. I think I can reach out to her. I think she's still willing to talk. I think I can mend this. And Slappy will give a smile and he'll be like,
would you talk to Anita or your sire? That's the thing I'm curious about. Because if you remember, you went to go call Anita before and it ended you up in a very bad situation.
Yeah, that's true. That is a true fact. But the last time I spoke to Cornelius, he called me a peckerwood and told me to get the fuck out of here.
I didn't pick the relations with your sire. You did.
Yeah, I know.
Right? So, I mean, that's where that called you a peckerwood, told you to get the fuck out. Don't say peckerwood things. I guess you could stick around. I mean, don't know what you want, but those are the doors you're at. Now, I'm saying one person set you up for an ambush and he was out in Gary, right? You're back at Chicago, woke up here. And I'm just saying, I think common sense would dictate maybe send her flowers and figure out if you're welcome back. After all, you did meet your end there, you thought. And, she had pretty influential friends, as in, even if she was held hostage to do it, unless you're prepared to go step in, you don't know what that situation is either. That's Gary, you're in Chicago. Can you figure that out? Maybe that's where you need to put your brain at. How can you help unfuck Clan Bruja here? And your best bet is either, Warren stands in the room. It's not like he's unheard of in circles of people he could talk. That's right. Critias is well, that went up in flames. So I guess we're back to, there's Cornelius or someone else you might know in the city. Oh, hey, offhand, Genghis is a guy. That's a known Bruja who's an anarch who was at least allowed to be in the city. That's something I would rather throw your direction as we did kind of get word of that guy. And a little bit is kind of known there. In fact, it was vague back in the day. You were playing Tom when this group encountered him. And it was kind of a visiting point here, but that's for Warren to remember. This dude did come around and did handle one of your pack mates. Right after all, that's why Rot was made. But the simple fact is open and shut. That's someone who's an anarch who can hold his own that might have some insight too. The war here is information, and you guys are only point and click. And that's great. He point and clicked and told you what to handle, didn't tell you a timetable. other than that has to be your immediate thing you're working on. But how you go about this is up to the intellect of the characters, and I really feel that even amongst kindred, murder is not drive up and do it. Let's be smart. Even if I got to teach you by the numbers, no one just orchestrates the death of someone. You got to know things.
Mm-hmm.
So knowledge number one is important. But the question is as to what angle you're going to go at.
So I look at my sheet and I don't really see how I could tug on a anarch string. But if I think there's even a snowball's chance in hell about Genghis taking a phone call from me, I would definitely make that call.
So looking at your sheet, looking for a string for an anarch, it's not what you're going about, right? This is something I'm always curious about. Let's say you call yourself an anarch. All right. Does that mean you can't talk to any other Brujah that isn't an anarch?
No, not at all. Not at all.
Okay, I could get behind that. And I agree with you. So if this guy came up and talked to you before and was willing to talk, why wouldn't he do it now, considering he's the one that wronged you last time you talked? Now, you may not know that because Ramsey certainly didn't describe it in detail what happened to your packmate other than the anarchs killed him. Right? Ramsey's the one who can ID that Genghis did it because he was out there when it happened.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. Brennan has a good poker face for that. Could be revenge time. Make the phone call, right? Maybe he didn't know how to reach out and touch Genghis, but maybe you have a Brujah network. I don't know.
No, if he's like if Warren's saying this out loud, like I might be able to call Genghis, the guy we were told to stake earlier. He's going to do something slightly uncharacteristic. He's going to put a hand on your arm, like your dialing arm, before you talk to him or see him. You should know he's the one that killed Parker. I saw him at Elysium when we were dragged through. You'll remember him.
And that's rough, as I'll have to have that resolve composure. You're down 2 dice as a Brujah. That's 2 blows, a little too harsh. And I'll tell you why. Whether you're mad at Ramsey or not is up to you, but I know this much. If I have a best friend who's with me and we lost another best friend and he knew why and held out this long, months, and didn't say who did it, and you've been in a city where literally you're a neighborhood away from where that guy had stomping grounds, because that's the correct thing to think about with you in the college and Crusade and all that, you at least are owed a reason or a talk or something, and he kept this under your hat. How about before I say that you would make that role, you tell me if you would make that role?
I can't argue that I wouldn't. There's a way I would approach it if I successfully, if I can hold my shit together. But I don't see a reason why that wouldn't be kind of a provocation.
Let's clickety clack, hold that beast back, sir. Let's see how that works.
Clickety clack.
Total failure.
Oh, wow, this is fun.
Yeah.
What we're going to do from a sense of dramatic point, and near to the wind down of the game here, in the last 20-minute run. Here's the reason what's going on. Him getting pissed off about this, there's a reason you put your hand on his arm and kind of knew, right? Because you told him straight up.
Mm-hmm.
And this is backed up. When you see Warren just kind of gritting his teeth and kind of working himself up, it's a matter of walking away. Where you guys are at in the apartment, it makes sense that people leave the room. You know why? I'm going to ad-lib this and say, there's a lot of things that people do that I find ridiculous. In real life, when somebody gets pissed off and they literally do this, damn, fuck, and they storm off because they're pissed and it looks like it's going to get worse. Folks don't chase them unless they're that partner that has that strong emotional tie, right? That's like, oh, baby, honey, boo-boo, who pissed you off? Who hurt you? Right? And they chase down there or whatever the situation is, they could do it. Or it's your brother and your brother doesn't know what's going on. But if he does, what does he do? Hey, give him a minute. He just needs a minute.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody just back off and give him space. He needs a minute. This is sort of where I'm going to bring to light how that works out, because that's more realistic. In particular, it's a Brujah. In particular, multiple friends that you guys have dealt with by now, and you're not going to help him. When he loses it like that, he just needs to rearrange some furniture and come back to you. But the important thing here, Mike, let's make it worth their time. And holding back, it's going to be hard to carry on a conversation. You're not the Incredible Hulk. This ain't the Avengers. You're in this room sharing some pain. It's whether or not it's intelligible. Would you be screaming about should have told me and loyalty and pissed off? What's the feeling behind this that you feel?
I think that should have told me is that so far in the past it doesn't matter. I think that what Warren's really mad about is that it's another opportunity of where he could have done something about something that he genuinely cared about, and it was robbed from him. In this case, it wasn't his own oversight, but still, it's one more thing on a stack of like missed opportunities and shoulda, coulda, wouldas.
So what happens is during this frenzied moment as you're in there, and what people can keep hearing him shouting about is like it starts with a sense of betrayal, right? Like, you betrayed me. You're just taking shit from me. And you don't know what that means as it becomes unintelligible as the growls start. Something is getting smashed and things in the hall are getting broken. You're trying to figure out what he was betrayed on and you don't really know. And it rolls into something quite different as it's done for you, Warren. When you get done, there's this sense of rebelliousness as the world's got to burn. As you come back with an all-time high, that what happened is that at some point you agreed to play by a playbook that you went to school for but never finished getting your degree in. They try to make you do a job you weren't fully prepared for. They're trying to make you sign up for a military regime that you didn't fucking sign the dotted line for. They're going to force conscript you into doing one thing and another, and before you can catch your breath, they're going to keep shoving your head underwater. What it is comes down to weakness. Right? There's a certain rebellious nature when your back gets pushed to a wall too much where you come back and you just say, you got to make your own choice and what this is going to be here and now. And whether it starts in a violent fight right now in this coterie or it goes into something later on, that's up to them. They're either your friends or they're fucking not. And that's what you need to know as your Burak clan blood is pushing you to this. It's an incorrigible urge to be rebellious despite reason is what you will be at for the rest of the scene as you come back after a few moments of loss of control. However, for everyone else to note, he didn't swing at anybody here. That rage, as though he feels it and though it's real, it's not at you because he didn't chase anybody. Ramsey's words didn't, it's not Ramsey, but it's something. And he needed a moment. Having that moment, hearing him calm down, and you don't have to cover up a body. Well, at least that's something. No one else died frivolously tonight as Warren comes back.
Yeah, I'm gonna go find Genghis, Ramsey, and we'll talk about Parker on a day when somebody doesn't have a gun to our heads. All right.
Yeah. Sounds like a plan.
You say that you care about just one of your own, but what happens if it is your entire clan? You were asking earlier about who's been taken by this. You might not have heard of it. It's called an Niktiku. It's the boogeyman. When it's your whole clan that is at risk.
It's always the fucking boogeyman, right? It's always the boogeyman. That's the shit they gave us when we got to the other side. It's always a boogeyman. There's always some motherfucker off in the distance in the future times who can eat us all like Scooby snacks.
All right.
You know what? Fuck you.
No. Rot. You want help with this, Nick Tuku and Gertie Mills? Slappy's got to talk to Anita, mend some bridges. Warren's got to talk with Genghis. I'll go with you, and we'll do what we can. We're going to need everyone to take out a fucking elder or a boogeyman. But we're going to need more than just see somewhere in Gurney Mills.
Okay.
Unless you already got a location.
I got an idea where.
To make you aware, raise your hand on camera if you remember being at Gurney Mills in the scene.
Hey.
There is. Do you remember the kindred you saw there?
Yeah, he was like a kid. Yeah, he had like a hoodie, a skateboard.
There was a guy there was minimum wage guards at the mall who he had trouble fighting. Rock did. I'm just pointing it out not to shoot holes in this thing, but he's saying they're beneath. You're literally, I get what you're doing, but just keep that in mind. That why is he calling it a Niktiku? And why is it a huge thing now? and he keeps saying Gurney. But it's like weird. It's like somebody programmed him to come back to Gurney, and you don't know who.
Yeah. Who else have you been talking to recently, Rod?
What do you mean?
Sorry. You've been away for a while. You've been doing something. And I was with you at Gurney Mills. We saw some looked like a fucking kid, which, you know, you can embrace a kid 500 years ago. He's still going to be a 500-year-old vampire, but I don't know. It's fucking weird, Rod. What'd you learn about Gurney Mills while you were gone that we didn't learn that night? You said Nick Tuku's there. You said your clan's gone. Yeah, all right. I'm willing to back you up on that, but what?
I'm sorry. I just got my apologies, just so I'm caught up to speed and maybe slapping. I don't know. What's a Nick Tuku?
Boogeyman. It's Nosferatu for Boogeyman.
So it's another Nosferatu killing another Nosferatu.
Yeah, or something else that's killing Nosferatu.
Is it even a vampire? Let's start off with that.
I don't know. Rod, is it a vampire?
Kind of.
Kind of.
It's so horrendous that it's as if it's a thing of its own.
Okay, so
But
it
yes.
is to the Nosferatu as the Nosferatu are to us. Is that what you're telling me?
Yes.
Whoa. We don't say stuff like that.
For lack
I
of a
apologize
better,
on his behalf.
trust me, when all of society, every single one of you just ignore me, it's just another stab.
All right, I'm not ignoring you right now, Rod.
Yeah, you got Rot. You got all of our attention. Don't worry, Rot. Slappy's listening. When you said Nabubu, I was all on board with you.
No.
So we're listening to you. So what's your end game here? Let's hear it.
Y'all some disrespectful lying motherfuckers. Warren finna head out with his curtain rod, Bob, for the record. Not curtain rod. Closet down. You know what the fuck I mean.
Slappy's gonna look to Warren and he's gonna raise his hands up and he's gonna be like, come on, man, we're not trying to be disrespectful. I just legit don't know what the fuck to do.
They're gonna do something. I'll be back, maybe.
You'll look at Slappy and be like, listen, you Bruja go do Bruja things. You help him out with Genghis, he'll help you out the Carlisle / whatever situation. I don't even know why I said Carlisle. Cornelius? Actually, they know each other, so you might be able to get something out of that. I trust you two to do it. Please, no violence. He'll yell after them.
Slappy will chase after Warren and be like, come on, man, it's all good.
We ain't seen it. We don't see.
So we're gonna handle that, right? We're gonna give a break to the Dick and Gurney, and we're gonna break this down over to here because I can't control we got to do this. So, Warren, how are you going about contacting Genghis? I just reminding you guys did get a number from Genghis is the thing.
I'll start there. I haven't really even decided how I'm gonna approach him, in some way other than saying, I'm gonna kill Kevin Jackson soon. Can you help?
Wrigleyville is where we're talking about. That's the first place you guys got put up at when you originally got here, right? That was the whole thing. And you had that real interesting neighborhood, right? Where the neighbors were we were going to sabbat them, and you did sabbat them. My God, how you sabbated them. And there's still that house. There's that end. Or you could just decide that you're going to go to another place and see if he shows up. Either way, you can call him and figure it out. Maybe he has a place already in mind.
Yeah, I would start with the call. Just in the interest of courtesy, right? Not showing up with a demand in hand.
You'll hear the phone pick up, and in the background, you're positive. You hear people kind of laughing. It's like a party is what it sounds like. You know what I mean? That din of multiple conversations at once that you can't pick out, like he's standing in the middle of it or whatever. And you hear occasional glass clink and some people laughing and chuckling here and there. And he'll be like going, hello? Yeah. What, Warren, what's up?
Hey man, I need some of your time. It shouldn't be long, but it's important.
Yeah, a line? 1 second. Let me check. You'll hear what sounds like a fridge opening up. It's like, yeah, I got a bag actually. I don't these people aren't big rum and cokers, but let me get over 1 second. He'll hear a door slide open and he'll wherever he is has some interesting layout apparently. More than you would expect. It takes a few moments for him to get out, and you hear a lot of conversation of, oh, no, it's totally cool. It just whatever's in the fridge, have at it. Yeah, you need another drink? Well, I'm stepping out. Just I'll toss them in from the cooler. Cool. Get ready to play catch, right? All right. And you hear him get outside, and the door will shut as he'll open the lid. He goes, yeah, I got a couple minutes, man. What's going on, Warren? I know you don't need any fucking lime, so I couldn't really hear you. What'd you need?
I'm tired of bullshitting. I need some information, but it's not the kind of information that we should discuss over the phone.
Yeah, great. You're still deputy, right? Anyway, with Damien and what you guys were doing?
It's a different flavor now.
That's new to me. So what I'm asking is this an official capacity? Like I have no choice, or is it a situation where like you're being nice and maybe I'm nice back and whatever?
Well, yeah. I'm certainly being nice because you certainly have a choice. What I got to talk to you about is actually pretty fucking sensitive, and I need you to keep it under your hat.
Yeah, I got to play some. So, how are you with the? You familiar with the Gold Coast yet? Nice buildings.
Barely. I've been busy, barely.
How about we just meet at the hell with it? Meet me at the end of Navy Pier. Let's do that. Right,
Yeah.
I can get there in about 15 minutes. You want to? I don't know. You can get anywhere in the city in 20, right?
Right. Usually. That'll work. I'll see you there, man.
All right. He'll hang up, and that's you. Pretty easy enough. Now, before we get to anything magnificent, Mike, are you familiar with Navy Pier at all, or have you seen it?
If I've seen it, I didn't know what I was looking at.
This is fair. So allow me to do a photo, set the mood, so you get that much going on. And I have an idea. The first thing I'm going to tell you is that it's touristy, right? It's kind of the point. It's a mainstay, and to you, you're not going to miss the point that isn't that far from a lot of the places you've been to. It all seems to revolve around being near the lake for somewhere important, and that's the effect. And as I see this, okay, sorry, it's a quick message. But I'm going to give it to you in daylight. It's a better view here. He told you he's going to meet you here, but you don't know where the hell you're going to meet this guy at, right? There's quite a bit to do coming up just to the end of it. But your character knows you can park and walk down the whole damn thing. It's no big deal. And the important part is you do what any slick person does in meeting a situation like this. Hey, I'll be by the Ferris wheel. Large landmark, you're in a spot, and you'll text them. And that just seems to come with it, right? And you were just going solo, am I right?
I mean, I'm not going to tell Slap to stay away if he was coming, but I'm not waiting.
So what we'll do here is that Slappy will be by the Ferris wheel, but maybe he's waiting on the other side and just kind of minding his P's and Q's, seeing how things go down, right? But the point is, what you'll see is a gang has come walking up nonchalant, has this classic piercing tattoo look, seems to work even now. Definitely the punk's punk, right? That or champagne punk, if you will, as some people would dare call it, where it looks like more punk is the trend and that's him. You don't get rebellious youth from him. Maybe back in the day he had that, but it's like out here alone amongst everybody else, and the fact that he has a bag of popcorn, that you watch him just kind of absently throwing kernels out as he's walking and smirking to himself as he gets up to you, and he's just sort of like, so what's going on? As he'll turn and is it just you? I kind of thought you'd have. I don't know what I thought, but you know how you guys are. Once Sabat, always Sabat. Me in a pack and all that.
Yeah. I got a homie nearby, but it's not like that right now, man. What's going on is I am. It appears that I am going to die soon, but I have some things I need to do first.
What?
I need to find somebody.
You're gonna die like a eulogy?
I mean, there's a line of people to do the job, that is. Don't worry about it.
So people are out to get you, and then you're like swan songing in here?
Well, I'm starting with the high priority, right? And then I'm going to work my way down. And if I make it to the bottom of the list, then there won't be any more people out to get me, at least, for a couple nights.
All right. This sounds pretty heavy, man. I like a good gossip. Who doesn't, So what's going on? What's the word? Who'd you piss off?
Well, strangely enough, it ain't me that pissed somebody off. You're not going to believe this, but well, like I said, this needs to stay in confidence. I'm going to choose to trust you. I heard tell that old Kevin Jackson is fucked up, and well, I need to find him.
How does the prince fuck up? Like, maybe that's what you need to explain to me.
That was the question. That was the question I was asking too.
Oh shit! He'll put a hand on your shoulder. A fucking Justicar, bro. He'll lean in close, conspiratorial like, and Slappy. You can see this from the other side, right? Like, you see these two talking as you're kind of making your way up to him from the Ferris wheel on the other side, in case you caught him over there first. But it's like he just said who's screwing who out of the friend group. Right? Joni's cheating on Sally, and he's doing it with Dave. What? The new guy, Dave, as they lean in close, not to say it too loud, right? And he'll just sort of be like, yeah, like, really? You meant like, who's the new Justicar? I heard they got a new one after Bell, like, kind of took it to, Hardestat with the left hook, right?
Genghis, man, that's Cam shit. I don't know shit about that. I don't know. I wasn't that far along before I hopped fences way back in the day. Listen, man, I don't know who has the authority to call some shit down on a young prince in a nice, wealthy place like this. Whoever it is, it's in my lap. You don't have to be a rocket scientist to fucking guess why. I'm the Sabat turncoat, right? If I'm successful, they get their way. If they don't, they have somebody to blame. The way I figure it, you ain't exactly, stepping and fetching, right? Even if you are on this side of the fence, and I'm kind of desperate for information.
Yeah, all right. So he'll stand up straight and kind of, all right, he'll toss some more kernels up. Look, you're desperate for information. I'm trying to figure out what you need from me, other than somebody told you too, as he'll point to you, Slappy, as you're just like within 10 feet walking up. And does he know? As he'll look at you, Horn, pointing at Slappy.
As far as I know, he doesn't know anything that I don't know. This is fresh off the presses, my guy.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, does he know that you're like, someone told you to go at the prince, and you're like, okay.
Slappy will nod his head and be like, is pretty serious, Genghis.
Yeah, it is serious, because like, we're talking, I'm an anarch. We don't even say that shit in jest. So, like, fuck, well, I don't know, fellas.
I might have conducted myself differently if you came here with a group of your buddies.
What do you mean?
I mean, I might not have spoken so plainly to you if there were several sets of ears that I had to be concerned about.
He'll look around, like, conspiratorially, like, you mean there's people listening?
If there were. I'm not saying they are. If there were.
Jeez. Okay, man. God, it's getting to me. Okay. Let's walk down a little bit. Like, let's just, get a little comfortable. Use the space, as they say. Let's get over here, as they'll go a little down toward the water line, away from everybody, looking at the occasional car that'll drive down, picking people up to take them off the grounds of the pier. He's sort of like, yeah, so like, all right, so you're told to go at the prince. You know where to find him?
No idea. And I think that's intentional, right? If somebody gave me an address, the address would point back to who he came from.
Now, I guess you could schedule a meeting with the Seneschal, right? And then what you guys do?
Somehow I have my doubts.
Have you?
Like, why does the Seneschal take my call? He's probably not going to take your call. He's definitely not going to take mine.
First off, watch your mouth. Me and the Seneschal go way back. He'll take my call. I'm the one who normally, well, I owe him still. So, like, yeah, I know how to get a hold of the Seneschal, but that's not the point. The point is deals made in the past are deals made in the past. You know, everybody owes somebody in this town. And so let's just put it that way. But like you want to get a hold of the prince, it's kind of easy pickings. It's just how soon do you need to get a hold of him? You know, and if you need a meeting, you just kind of go through the right channels, man. I mean, I know that sad news came about that the Sabbat got Critias, you know, thankfully it wasn't you.
Yeah, about that. That's another part of the list.
Bro, it wasn't you. It wasn't fucking you. As you could see him getting irate as he's just like, it wasn't you, right?
No, it wasn't fucking me, and I almost died over it. Like last night. Can we focus here?
All right, yeah. Just I had to know. I mean, you're like, dude, you're Sabbat, right? That's
they keep reminding me. I don't know how to track him, man, and it doesn't seem calling the fucking Seneschal's phone seems about as wise as doing it at Elisa. Like I don't.
So like, but you're not even helping me out here. You like someone told you to get the prince, and you want to do a meeting.
Slappy.
No. I don't mean to do a meeting. I mean, I just need an angle. I need to know how to place him, if he's got any habits, anything I can grab onto. I don't need him to know I'm coming.
Slappy's gonna like kind of put his hands up and be like, may I interject, Warren?
Yeah, obviously. Go ahead. Go right ahead.
No, thank you. I mean, we've already told you the biggest part. So, I mean, what's really important here is, I mean, obviously we've been tasked with this to take out the prince, but I guess you're curious on the whys and the hows. But, I mean, what we really need to get into contact with, I think, is, and he'll like look around and he'll be like, is Carlisle.
He'll get stone sober serious and stand up straight. Like it's almost like he's possessed. He'll go, what do you need to talk to him for?
Well, I mean, he's kind of the reason we need to, you know, go at the prince.
Oh yeah? So Carlisle told you to do it?
Carlisle didn't tell us to do it.
Oh, he didn't? Then who did? See, now I need to know. You're gonna bring up Carlisle. Then let's hear it out. Like this is some serious fuckery.
Well,
you called me to bring me out here, and there's two of you, and you're mentioning Carlisle. Yeah, that's cool. What about it?
I mean,
Just tell him, bro. Just tell him.
All right. Sorry.
We'll talk about venture business.
Slappy's just.
You need to tell me about it. You need to tell me about it. Venture bit. I know the deal. So he did a reverse deal. That's what he did. First, I'm okay and I'm protected to be here, and he turned around and made a deal with Carlisle, and I'm on the table again.
Hold on.
That's what he did.
No.
I don't know about no deal. I don't know about no deals. The person that told us that this order comes from on high, it was a Ventru talking Ventru business about Ventru shit, happens to be in the same pot as us, right? And
what fucking Venture?
He'll look over at Slappy and just say, you know Sullivan, right? Kind of thin, young looking white guy, suit, glasses.
I know of Sullivan. Yeah.
So in some way, us fucked it up for his clan, and they had a super secret Ventru meeting. And what he came back to us with is that we got to put the pine to the prince. Prince fucked something up. It's got something to do with Carlisle. I don't know either one of them that way.
So what you just told me is that you guys out of a hat, Sullivan told you to take out the prince.
Well, no, not out of a hat. Sullivan got his orders from the big guy, as he refers to him. Ballard.
This doesn't make any fucking sense. So first off, Ballard backed Kevin Jackson to be put in office. He's older than Kevin Jackson. He's the primogenitor of the prince. If they want the prince, this is not how shit's done, gentlemen. It wasn't fucking Ballard that told you to take out Loden. I didn't scratch. I didn't say Loden.
Yeah.
Take out Kevin Jackson. That's not who said it.
Look, man, I don't know these people. Ballard is a person.
Well, I'm trying to figure this out. So let me tell you what happened. Lone gets done in. KJ shouldn't even have been up there. He was just a guy who was circling the drain, as far as we knew. He's like a Ventrue, but great, but he's too young. And everyone was looking at Sovereign, honestly. That's the guy. He's like the consummate seneschal, but Sovereign passed the buck, Ballard passed the buck, and boom, the pick was Kevin Jackson, and the whole Primogen Council agreed. And at the time, they had Tyler to even put her blessing on it, that he knew what it took or some bullshit like that. And that was that. And he's up in office. That's what fucked us over, was that Kevin Jackson got put in office because they put a whole new spin on it. We're the ones who made deals with Kevin Jackson, we anarchs, trying to be in the come up because he had the gangs and shit. That was going to be our source of contention. And he promised us it wouldn't change anything, and fucking wrong. It changed everything. Now we had nowhere to hide in that regard. Like, our movement was clear what was going on. That's about all I'm going to get into that, because the rest of that gets kind of personal. But I'm telling you right now, Ballard doesn't want Kevin Jackson taken out. And sure as fuck it isn't Sovereign, because they could go do that. They could just go have a meeting and do that. Why the fuck are you guys the one being told to go do it? And you're fucking Bruja. Do you know what happens? We're not in the Camarilla. We don't have a Justicar sitting on there making nice with the clan. Bell ruined that for fucking everybody. He killed Hardestad. He literally cut the head off the Ventrue who set this shit in motion. And you're telling me that you want to go make waves and fucking kill a Ventrue prince? And this is called the Jewel of the Camarilla? Like, I'm an anarch, fellas. I'm an anarch. This fucks my mojo up.
Hey, Genghis, for what it's worth, the order wasn't to kill him. Personally, that's the move that I would have made. What we was told is that we was bringing him in. Now, I don't imagine he's going to go quietly, but I fully plan on doing what I was told.
You didn't even tell Damien about this yet?
I don't know how Damien feels about KJ, man. I don't know him that well.
What I'm going to tell you is I don't know who's putting you up to this, but that seems to be the most important part. Because right here, you sound like a fucking stoop. You sound like you're a puppet to someone and you're just blindly agreeing with it because someone told you to do it. And you think that you should do it. And what I'm telling you is what you're mentioning right now, either your ass wasn't supposed to tell me, appreciate the loyalty, but you told me, and I'm sitting here going, I don't feel comfortable in knowing this. Some Ventrue in-house weird-ass draconian sick family fuck bullshit, and now they want Kevin Jackson gone. They could just ask him to step down. You know how that works? They don't want him dead. They just want him staked. What sense does that make? They could literally go and say, hey, KJ, you're done. We're not backing you. You fucked up too much. Step down and let the man come through. And then either Sovereign or Ballard or whoever the fuck else is going to make a move to go up. Hell, maybe it's time for Torador. She's cute enough. But goddamn, like, use some reason. Like, you're telling me that somebody's having you do a physical move to well, who needs to make a show of force on Kevin Jackson? And how about this? Good fucking luck. Like, you're not going to do that quietly. That guy has killers. That guy is killer of killers, man. You haven't heard about the Southside Boys? West Side 88s?
Yeah, I remember. I remember, man.
Right, those cliques stayed out of prison because of people like Jackson. Even the people that got in prison are still calling shots for people out here in the streets. Like, I'm not saying it to talk shit, but like, really, it's a scary place if you don't know where to go. And even if you know where to go, like, I don't. Oh, hey, you came to me for info. Here's the info I got for you. If you're looking for Kevin Jackson, he's the prince still, as far as I know. And someone's trying to have you do a back alley deal. That's what I would use. I'd use politics. I'd hook them into a meeting and do what you got to do. Good luck. If you didn't bring Damien in on it, good fucking luck. Right? Damien's a young kid, but I'm going to tell you right now, there's a reason he sits as sheriff.
Oh, I'm aware.
There's one guy who would be willing to counter like Damien's bullshit. His name's Balthazar. And the angle you want to go at is, Warren, you can't talk to him. He's racist. Like, he's racist as it gets. Now, maybe he's changed his tune and kind of caught up in time, but he's the one Bruja that works with Ventrue. This sounds like some shit he'd do. And you're stepping in his fucking shoes, both of you are. This is some Balthazar shit. Like he would make a deal back in the day with some evil ass draconian venture against his own kind. And he would do that. And let me tell you something. If this blows back in your face, there's no way they're not going to see it that way. So if you do it, you got to do it way more tact than this. I'm honored, though. You would tell me, though. I mean, it's not like I'd tell the whole movement. It's not like I had a big marquee thing that Genghis takes down the Prince of Chicago.
Listen, man, if we're successful and you want to take credit for it, you go right ahead.
No, I was going.
Huh?
Yeah, no, thank you. I appreciate it.
But to be clear, you said Damien would want to know about this?
No, what I'm saying is I'm shocked you didn't talk to him about it. His sire just got killed. I don't know if you know that. It's the worst kept secret in the fucking area.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, but what you don't know is that Crusade made a deal with KJ not to be executed for it. Crusade made him ad hoc and left him basically as a caitiff. He didn't cop to it, that the fact that he ever did. He never told Damien. But everyone saw how sweet Crusade was with Damien. And eventually Crusade let that get out. But who he told was KJ, who understood situations just like that. After all, it was KJ who had that chick that KJ put away Loden's main squeeze back in the day. I think her name was Lorena. It's a chick that Loden made on the side. It's his one main squeeze, his paramour that he had.
Yeah.
Yeah, KJ wiped him out before he took the title of prince. Got rid of her because she still had pull on his assets. And he did her in. And he didn't ask permission. Who was he going to ask, right? And he thought he got away scot-free. It's the Primogene who met and put that guy in place. And the agreements, he got Princeton for it. It's the biggest upset that the Anarchs had. He broke right of destruction. We heard about it. Rumor or not, we could have it confirmed. Where's your confirmation? Where's your sheriff? They didn't do anything with that. So KJ's had a hand-wave policy. So Critias mentioned his school idea and what he could do. And the moment he got that school idea and people agreed to it, Damien was a part of it, and Damien went through it. That's when he told KJ that, by the way, Damien's my child, but I'll still run this school if you need it, if we get a pardon. What do you think KJ did?
So absolutely. I'll have this Greek Methuselah train all of my rabble. Yeah.
If you believe his old ass was that old, like we know he's an elder, but come on. Like he was at Carthage. The fuck you doing in Chicago shuffling papers for university students?
I mean, if he's half as old as he said he was, it wouldn't matter, right?
Now the proof is the beckoning, man. Everybody knows when you get that bite from the beckoning, you're gone. Skedaddle. You don't come back. So that's that deal, right? So that's proof right there. Critias couldn't have been that old. But the point is, he was the kid's child. Damon didn't have a dad like that. And look at how young he was when he was made. So now, I don't know. He's probably in a bad way. I don't know. Maybe you don't mention it because I think what you're going to have there is like, oh, shit. Unless she told Damien KJ had him killed.
I mean, Damien might draw that conclusion on his own. I'll tell you what.
I'm telling you right now, that's evil. I thought of that. That's mine. You can't use that. I thought that. You can't use it. That's evil. I'm going to save that as my get out of jail free card. Like, because when you're going to try to do something stupid, and it's probably going to fail, because that's kind of how this goes. You don't take, man, if it was that easy, we Anarchs would have toppled the whole freaking city of Chicago already. If it was just, oh, he's over here, we're going to meet and put the pine to him and walk away with it. Yeah. And sure, it's that easy, because it always is, right? No, that's never how it works out, because people can't keep secrets. It's a weird thing, right? Nos can't keep secrets, man. Brew are worse. We talk to everybody. I mean, you walked up and like, by the way, wink, wink, nudge, nudge. I got to take out the prince. And like not even knowing who would be listening or what's going on, man. It's wild. It's just wild. But I like your style, right? You're open to me. You got nothing to be open about, right? Why are you open to me is the question. I mean, I am the one who killed your Sabat buddy, Parker.
Yeah, I remember that.
I like how you take it, though. I feel better. I feel like my conscience is clean. I got to tell you, though, I had to do it. Parker was an animal. He was ripping people out of their homes in the dead of night and eating them in front of them and leaving them there. Like it didn't matter. No one to care for it. No one to clean up for it. Nothing. Like he didn't give a fuck, man. That guy was a monster. Like you're not like that, right?
We all monsters, Genghis. We all monsters.
He'll take a few steps back. Yeah, we all are.
Sloppy's gonna kind of like try and interject and steer the conversation in a different direction. And he's gonna like nod his head up towards Genghis and be like, yo, can you get me in contact with Balthazar?
Well, what I'm gonna do is yeah, I'll text you. Right? I'll text you with where Balthazar is. I'll find out. I'll keep that under head. I'm at least that loyal to Bruja, if nothing else. And I'll make sure that goes on. Let him know you want to talk. And that's you'll probably meet at some shitty bowling alley. Knowing him, he's been scamming people lately for bowling alley money. That's all I know.
Sounds good. Hey, I appreciate it.
Yeah, we'll deal with that later. Good luck, fellas, in your great white hunt, as it said. I'm going to give you some advice. LA's not that far. I might consider it. It might be better than the alternative.
You run, you just got to keep running, my friend. Just got to keep running and usually die tired. Yeah. Thanks for the help.
All right. Yeah.
Yo, and Genghis, before you go, real quick, can we just keep this conversation between the three of us? I know we just talked about how
there's no chance. You don't think I'm not going to let Anarchs know that, oh, by the way, get the fuck out of town because two Bruja are going to get knuckleheadish and go at. Oh, because you think this only involves you. My God, you guys are dumb. Like when you do this and you talk about if you run forever, it's a problem. You don't realize you're shitting on everybody that bears your blood. I tried telling you that. Right? You're not getting the Bruja on your side to rise up and do shit. And our clan currently has a problem. And you drop the name of a dude who I have personal beef with. Like you want to talk to that cat too. Well, that piece of shit can rot in hell. Because I did what he didn't have the stomach to do. And I'm going to pay the price. Nah, I'm all right. I'm going to leave this alone as much as possible. But I can tell you right now, I got to tell those people who need to know why they need to leave. Because you two seem set in your ways that you're going to go ahead and do something about this, especially with that comment slap. I thought you would have the common sense. I'm just going to back off. And I'm going to tell people to get out. I'm going to get my people out so we don't suffer any more blowback. Because when this fails, and it will, I mean, it's KJ. Like you think he's the one person in this city that's used to people running for him in the streets. It was Capone. It was Alphonse fucking Capone who sent people after him in droves. We're talking hitman in La Cosa Nostra to kill him out in the streets and couldn't get the job done. Nary a shot was fired at KJ. But I know a ton of gangs who were getting paid tall cash for taking out some paisans. Just saying. And that was that. And that was during the reign of kill them as they come loading. So that's between y'all. Good luck. Not saying I won't get involved one way or the other. I'm just saying I gotta digest this meal you gave me, and I appreciate that. And but I'll get you your information. Balthazar is coming soon. I do mean that. We'll throw it your way. Have a nice night. He'll be sure to back up from you guys, like he's waiting for the other shoe to drop, or your friends to show up, or something. Like it's clear he can't believe that you said something deep in that regard. This wasn't like a get to know you, want to go feeding, hey, your buddy, and even him dangling that info about Parker, which you can tell was clearly a test the water. Warren holds his shit together. You interjected slap at the right time. He's still like, okay, all right. And when he finally gets far enough away, he'll turn and speed walk, right, with his popcorn and giving it to some kid he passes by who doesn't know why he's getting a free bag of large popcorn. And he continues walking. As you'll see him, either he does public transit or someone else is going to pick him up. But he's heading in the crowd, heading down the street.
Slappy will look to Warren and just kind of stare for a couple seconds and like quirk his eyebrow and be like, "That could have gone worse."
It also means we're on a timetable. I bet you I can get in touch with Damien before you get in touch with Balthazar.
All right. Well, I'll talk to Balthazar, and I guess you'll talk to Damien. And
Yep.
But we should let the rest of them know what just transpired.
Nope.
Oh, nope.
Huh.
Oh,
Not yet. Not yet. Nothing to tell him yet. And in light of his reaction, I don't know what theirs will be. We don't have anything useful to share. Anarchs are gonna do Anarch shit. We aren't Anarchs. We were already in the news for this. Keep it under your hat until you talk to Balthazar.
Respect. Okay. Respect.
If you don't hear from me in the next few days, it's because Damien killed me and you guys are on your own.
I'm sure he'd be for us shortly after. For what it's worth, sorry if I've been kind of an asshole to you, but you held yourself well in that. So, respect.
No, I appreciate it, man. I know I'm a little rough to be around sometimes, but let's reminisce later and get down to business.
Right. And Slappy will turn, and I guess he's just waiting for that text from Genghis.
And you'll be waiting. Either Genghis is full of shit, or that's all the time we got for this game session. As we're going to and I'll let you draw that conclusion to yourself. But I'll say Aftermath, you do get text Balthazar's phone number at the very least to make those arrangements as you do. But for you guys, I'm going to start with Rot. I think Rot did an amazing job. Michelli, I never know how you come to the conclusions you do. I was broken half. I couldn't maintain it in several spots as you were going.
My only regret during that whole, we'll just call it word vomit, was that I looked at the screen. I should have just looked into the void because I broke.
It was tough in a good way. Very entertaining, man. So I'm going to give you an extra XP off the bat for it. I think Sullivan, there's omission in usage that I really like that you've done. And it's done masterfully. It's done well enough to where people don't question shit. And that's a way to do it. To get it done. Sometimes it's just go forward. I'm going to give you 2 XP for that because it's setting up a ball in motion that I had written down. There's no fucking way it's going to be that clean. A little easier than I gave you credit for, sir. And that's that in a nutshell. It's not the same, but it's easily do. People have their own reasons, and it's stacked differently than I could anticipate. Warren Ramsey, Warren's going to get an extra 2. Ramsey's going to get an extra run for playing his character. Here's the thing. We're talking about what's going on here as I see it, not to be too long-winded with it. It's a matter of, okay, we're going to go on with it. We're just going to kill someone. Who the hell is it? Or I'm going to go out with this guy and kill someone, and who's that? But what it points out is that Ramsey really is the who cares in this group. He's a psychopath. I'm going to outline this. He doesn't have skin in a race and doesn't care to know anybody or get close to anyone. He's just here to be used accordingly. Also, he's one guy who could easily walk off in the sunset and not worry about any of it. He's choosing not to. And there's, to me, when we collude and people get together to plot skullduggery, I want to make sure everybody has equal skin in the game so that nobody plays some, as we call it, fuckery around here and get out of it. But he definitely seems to be somebody who's like, is there blood? Yeah. There I'm in. And that's leaves you pretty making. It's an interesting character to be played, but I keep looking at that picture in the bloody duster and the way it was drawn up. And I got to tell you, yeah, he belongs in the city near dark. I could see it. He's a nomad that never should have been anything but Sabat in that regard. So I appreciate that callback. And of course, Slap is always entertaining. And for that alone, it's going to be an extra XP for you too, sir. And reaching out and trying to explore those categories. So you guys did a great job. To that end, any honorable mention you guys would like to have before we move on?
Just real quick for my
you haven't already.
edification. You said extra. Is that 2 or is that 3?
That's 3.
Okay. Thanks.
Nothing you haven't already said, Bob. You hit the points. I got nothing to add.
All right. Well, thank you, everybody, for watching. That's it for us, and we are done for this time around. And tune in to see what crazy direction we go to with this stuff that we have next, as not even I am able to predict it anymore.
See you, folks.
Later.
Thank you for listening to our 25 Years of Vampire the Masquerade podcast. If you like what you heard and want to support us, please share it with others or leave a review. Thanks again, and we'll see you next time.